This guy accidentally reincarnated into a dangerous world crawling with monsters, only to realize he's a single-celled organism without even a proper body. Being at the bottom of the food chain is tough enough, but starting on hell mode difficulty is just unfair. However, with a bizarre and magical decomposition ability, he can absorb anything around him. Every time he decomposes something, not only do his stats skyrocket, but he also awakens overpowered skills. He can even use shadow clones to create an army of minions to grind monsters and level up for him. His reincarnation control over corpses is so good that only the second Hokage could possibly rival him. While people fear being possessed by tailed beasts, he actually parasitizes the tailed beasts. Even Naruto would have to call him on the phone to chat. In a dark, swampy forest filled with miasma, a strange creature slowly wakes up. Amidst the buzzing of insects and the flickering of swamp lights, he dazedly mutters, Where am I? What kind of reincarnation is this? Why is it just a swamp? Vague memories return. He clearly remembers lying in bed reading manga the night before and dozing off. Facing the harsh reality, he is shocked to realize he has died and reincarnated into another world. Though panicked, he quickly calms down, accepts his new reality, and starts looking for a way to survive. He tries shouting, Hello, is anyone there? Anybody here? But the terrifying silence of the forest is his only answer, making him think that staying quiet might be better. Breathing in the damp, miasma-filled air, the creature feels strangely comfortable. However, his joy is short-lived when he realizes he is now just a blob of slime. Just then, a system dialog box appears, confirming he is a level 1 slime, a weak creature with the decomposition trait. Dangerous warnings keep ringing. HP is too low. Autophagy has initiated. Please eat or rest immediately. With only 730 HP remaining and dropping steadily, he realizes that if he doesn't eat something right now, death is imminent. He frantically looks around for food. Relying on his decomposition trait, the slime decides to try eating a piece of rotten wood. His body begins to expand, engulfing the target to absorb it. Even though it tastes like soggy bread, it's edible. After 15 minutes of hard work decomposing, a congratulatory notification rings out. He has successfully reached level 2, and his HP is fully restored. At the same time, the system notifies him that he has gained skill points to enhance one of 2 abilities: decomposition or pulsation. Torn between the two, the slime tells himself, I know what decomposition does, but what the heck is pulsation? If this other world offers a skill, let's just spend the points and see what it does. The moment he activates it, the pulsation skill levels up to 3, causing the tissues in his body to contract repeatedly. The slime is amazed to realize that pulsation is actually how his protoplasm moves back and forth, helping him achieve movement. He enjoys absorbing this new knowledge. It's truly magical. Just by activating the skill, information is automatically transmitted into his brain. Although, it seems I don't have a brain anymore. Realizing that eating rotten wood no longer gives experience, he decides to move to the ground to explore, and unexpectedly encounters a new creature. Wait, that's a magic mushroom. Even though people are usually wary of strange mushrooms, his instinct as a slime tells him this is definitely a delicacy. He begins using his movement ability, seeking the shortest path to his target. In reality, while slimes move slowly, they possess an incredibly impressive ability to navigate mazes, even more effectively than human engineers planning subway lines. Climbing onto the vibrant mushroom, the slime excitedly shouts, Dinner time! Time to eat some tasty mushroom! In his excitement, he even daydreams about an online date with the little magic mushroom. He transforms into an elegant gentleman in a fancy suit, but the brutal reality hits when the target reveals her true form as a nasty, evil hag. Immediately, the system issues an emergency warning. Toxin is invading and consuming nutrients in your body. HP is down to 2,435. The slime is horrified. I've been poisoned. To save his life, he painfully decides to cut off the infected part of his body. Good thing I was quick enough to chop it off before I kicked the bucket. Although he survived, the failed decomposition causes his maximum HP to drop significantly to 17. Not willing to accept defeat, he decides to retreat to his base, the rotten wood, to recover, not forgetting to leave a declaration of war. Wait until yours truly returns to base, gets back in shape, and continues this fight with you. After 15 minutes of dedicated recovery, his HP has returned to its best state at 3,535. The slime, full of spirit, returns to the scene. HP is back to full. Let's keep fighting. He maps out a super tactical plan called the lure the enemy away strategy. Eat a little bit. And before he's completely poisoned, run back to heal and then return to eat some more. With persistent dedication, he believes that if he has enough time, I refuse to believe I can't take you down. After 8 imaginary cycles of getting in and out of trouble, the slime finally succeeds in completely decomposing the stubborn mushroom. In his mind, the ugly old hag mushroom has been quickly hauled away by the royal guards. The system notifies him that he has received experience points and, specifically, the antidote skill level 1. He nods with satisfaction. Antidote, huh. No wonder I could last longer each time lately. Although slightly disappointed, he didn't level up directly. Looking around the damp forest with countless other mushroom species, the slime knows he has found an endless resource. The slime continues his sweeping journey with his eyes set on wild mushrooms. He starts with a herb mushroom, a safe, non-toxic type that helps him easily reach level 3 and receive more enhancement points. Not stopping there, he continues to swallow a deception mushroom. Even though this mushroom is extremely toxic, it brings in a huge amount of experience points, along with a spicy, stimulating kick. The system continuously notifies him that the slime has reached level 4 and upgraded antidote to level 2. Seeing a whole cluster of mushrooms in front of him, he excitedly declares that they will all become nutrients for him. After clearing the area, the slime officially reaches level 5 with his HP skyrocketing to 79, but he has also hit the limit for gaining experience from mushrooms for the next 24 hours. To avoid wasting them, he decides to pack up the remaining mushrooms, pile them on his back, and act smug. I am an expert in magic mushrooms. Wearing poisonous ones on my back isn't just for food, it's for protection. I look like a walking street vendor, brothers. He proudly compares himself to a crab using sea anemones to scare off octopuses, believing the pile of poisonous mushrooms on his back will make enemies terrified. However, his confidence is quickly shattered by the sound of wings buzzing through the air. A swarm of aggressive yellow wasps, each clutching pieces of fresh meat, is flying straight toward him. The slime panics, hides in the grass, and trembles while praying, "Please don't see me." Just then, a long tongue suddenly shoots out. After sweeping up a bee in one gulp, a giant, mottled-skinned frog appeared. The slime was stunned by the sight of this new predator. Instead of fleeing, the swarm of yellow bees immediately counterattacked, swarming the frog. From its hiding spot, the slime held its breath to watch the chaotic battle. Time to spectate, it thought. The main event is starting. The massive frog kept flicking its nimble tongue to snag its targets, but the bees weren't pushovers. Even though they were physically outmatched, the sheer number of bees allowed them to swarm the beast, stinging and tearing at it frantically. Watching the mutual destruction, the slime began to calculate. If both sides get hurt, can't I just pick up the scraps? It knew that the experience gained from decomposing biological remains was definitely higher than just dry wood or mushrooms. The battle reached its climax when the frog decided to unleash its final move, a desperate strike. Its tongue now moved like a steel whip, sweeping in a circle to snatch several yellow bees into its mouth at once. The slime remained hunkered down in the bushes, intently following every move of the victor as it chewed its prey. Just as the frog was about to swallow the bees, a giant shadow descended from above. A large snake lunged, intending to swallow the frog, but a massive bird of prey instantly appeared, using its razor-sharp talons to snatch both the snake and the poor frog. In that life-or-death moment, the giant bird turned its head and glared straight at the bush where the slime was hiding. Facing that murderous gaze, the slime shivered, completely abandoning any thought of resistance. Okay, you win. This wilderness is clearly too hardcore for me. I give up. But the bird just sneered and turned away, as if it couldn't be bothered with such a pathetic creature. It flapped its wings powerfully, creating a gale that blew the slime far away and caused it to lose 30 HP. Under the cold moonlight, the slime trembled, realizing the harsh truth about its place in the world. Looking at the food chain, it bitterly realized it was at the very bottom, ranked below even insects and small animals. It comforted itself in its fear, thinking, "At least I'm at the bottom of the social ladder, so no one even wants to eat me. Thank goodness." Even though it had reached level 5 with upgraded decomposition and poison resistance skills, the title of weak little creature was still an undeniable fact. The slime let out a weary sigh, wondering how it could survive and make a comeback in the dangerous days ahead. Exhaustion washed over it. It wished this were just a dream, and that it would wake up back in its cozy room. The next morning, as sunlight filtered through the leaves, the slime began a new journey, quietly crawling onto a bright red mushroom to find nutrients. Suddenly, it was hit by a barrage of green liquid. Its HP plummeted, and it shrieked in pain. "Ah, it hurts, it hurts." In the desperate situation, a new skill called Burst, Level 1, activated, allowing it to stimulate its cells to move in one direction and create a powerful burst of momentum. "Who's playing dirty? Come out." The culprit revealed itself to be a white snail with a dark red shell. It was casually spraying a highly corrosive acid to break down the mushroom. Seeing that, the slime scolded it angrily. "You rotten snail! Not only did you eat my mushroom without permission, but you also spit on my face and almost ruined my look. This is unforgivable." Seeing that the opponent didn't seem to want to attack again, the slime softened, telling itself that perhaps the snail was just too hungry. It decided to be generous. "Forget it. I won't give you a hard time. There are plenty of mushrooms anyway, so I can share a little with you. Eat up if you want." Hearing that, the snail looked overjoyed and began to enjoy the meal. Watching this, the slime started having fantasies about a beautiful friendship like in shonen manga, where former enemies become comrades fighting side by side. It daydreamed about both of them leveling up together, becoming a legendary adventuring duo, and defeating the demon lord. With that in mind, the slime excitedly suggested, "Hey snail, let's be teammates. Free mushrooms for life. Deal?" But in response to the sincere invitation, there wasn't a nod, but a cruel bite. The snail suddenly lunged, biting hard into the slime's gelatinous body, causing it to cry out in pain. Oh my god. After losing 12 HP, the slime realized the brutal reality of this world. That hurts. So, monsters in another world don't care about feelings. In nature, it's just a relationship of predator and prey. Realizing the opponent wasn't to be trifled with, the slime didn't dare hesitate for another second. It frantically fled while the snail was still busy with the meal it had just stolen. That rotten snail still wouldn't let go. It kept slowly crawling behind, making the slime panic. "It's still chasing me. This rotten snail. Is it not planning to let me go?" In this life or death situation, it decided to use its last skill point to upgrade Pulse to level 4. The slime made up its mind to accelerate as fast as possible to escape in time, then poured all its strength into darting across the rotting log like a shot. But life isn't a dream. Even after trying its absolute best, 3 whole minutes later, the pursuer was still staying right on its tail. The slime was exhausted, its body stretching out from fatigue. "Oh my god, it's so fast I can't shake it." There was no way to lose it. Just then, the snail started making strange growling sounds, its neck puffed up, and it suddenly sprayed a stream of acid directly forward. A direct hit caused the slime excruciating pain, its HP dropped by 27 points, and its body began to smoke as it started to corrode. In a delirious state from the pain, the slime still tried to analyze the situation. No time for thinking, just survive. The snail now revealed its true form as a terrifying predator. It opened wide, a mouth filled with rows of jagged, sharp teeth, and lunged with a growl. It cruelly tore at and began to suck the bodily fluids from the slime. Even though it was completely suppressed, the slime gritted its teeth and endured. "You win for now. Just wait. Revenge is a dish best served cold, and I've got plenty of time." The snail didn't stop. Its eyes glowed red with murderous intent, terrifying the slime. In the life or death moment, it spotted a nearby purple mushroom full of toxins and came up with a reckless plan. As the monster opened its mouth to deliver the finishing bite, the slime screamed, "Oh no," and used all its might to activate the burst skill, shoving the poisonous mushroom deep into the opponent's throat. The snail choked, only managing to emit suffocating, desperate noises. The toxin from the mushroom acted quickly, making the veins on the snail's body bulge. It convulsed violently and collapsed on the spot. The system immediately announced that the slime had defeated the target, successfully leveling up to 6 and receiving more enhancement points. Looking at the motionless corpse of its enemy, the slime let out a sigh of relief. "It worked, just as I thought. This guy clearly has so many teeth, yet it has to spit out acid to dissolve its food because it lacks poison resistance itself. Ha ha ha. Regardless, I've successfully defeated my first monster since arriving in this other world." The slime chuckled to itself with pride. It was curious to see what surprises digesting a real monster would bring, but as soon as it touched the target, it grimaced at the sickeningly slimy snail meat. To steady itself, it tried to imagine it was a premium piece of French beef, gathering the courage to begin the digestion process. Just as it took a small taste, the slime immediately started retching because the taste was beyond horrific. It was horrified to realize this stuff was both salty and sour, with a slimy texture no different from nasal mucus. The system immediately issued a warning. If it stopped the digestion now, all its hard work would go down the drain, and it wouldn't receive any experience points. Faced with the choice between throwing away a precious resource or enduring, the slime couldn't help but hesitate. But then, the desire to become stronger for the sake of survival overcame the disgust of its taste buds. It told itself, "Just swallow it. If I don't eat, I'll starve to death." The slime made up its mind. trying its best to suppress the nausea to finish absorbing its enemy. After a miserable struggle, the congratulatory notification finally rang out. Digestion complete. The slime officially leveled up to level 7 and was restored to its peak condition. Sacrificing one's sense of taste for levels even though its body was healthy again, the horrific aftertaste still made it feel absolutely terrible. At this moment, it realized it had 1.4 skill enhancement points and began reviewing its current skill set. The slime bitterly realized that all its skills were geared towards defense and escape. Decomposition was essentially for eating, pulsing and burst were for running, and poison resistance was just for taking hits. It screamed in despair because it didn't have a single real offensive skill to protect itself. However, looking at the reality that it was just a weak little slime, it understood that even with offensive skills, it wouldn't dare to face high-level monsters. After comforting itself, the slime decided to prioritize safety by using the enhancement points to upgrade pulsing to level 4. As soon as the skill was activated, it felt a noticeable change in its body's movement speed. Without further hesitation, the slime dashed off to test how fast this new speed could get it. The slime's speed had now reached 20 centimeters per second, a number that left it both happy and sad. It was as fast as a crawling snail. Well, something is better than nothing, right? A week passed in peace. It just hung around eating mushrooms to accumulate strength. Looking at the few remaining mushrooms on the rotting log, it fell into deep thought. Living like this isn't dangerous, but my resources are running out. There's only enough left to level up twice more. I've understood the characteristics of this body now. It's time to find a new base. Before officially setting out, the slime decided to have a big feast using its probe skill. By flattening its body and spreading out into tiny filaments like a spider web, it could branch out in many directions simultaneously to search for food. This scouting range is proportional to the amount of health and cell mass it possesses. The more health it has, the wider the network. Immediately, the system kept reporting good news as it gathered 3 white mushrooms and 6 small straw mushrooms into its body. Thanks to its mastery of body manipulation, the slime could now scout while simultaneously digesting its prey to optimize upgrade efficiency. When it swallowed the white-spotted green mushrooms, not only did it gain extra experience, but it also successfully upgraded poison resistance to level 4. But while it was busily wiping out everything in its path, it suddenly crashed into a hard, reddish-brown, round object. The system immediately issued a warning. Target cannot be decomposed. The collision caused the slime to moan in pain as it lost 9 health points. It was shocked to realize. An old enemy? Talk about a small world. It's you again. Before it could recover, a stream of sickly green acid suddenly poured down from above. Even though it quickly dodged, the slime still got burned and lost another 7 health points. It reassured itself. Thank goodness my speed has increased. The attacker this time was still a snail, but its speed and aggression far exceeded the previous one. Even though it noticed the gap in strength, the slime still confidently declared, "But you won't be able to hit me anymore." But as soon as the words left its mouth, an incredibly powerful attack suddenly exploded right against its body, leaving it severely wounded and draining 33 health in the blink of an eye. In that split second of life or death, the slime suddenly turned the tables by shoving a purple mushroom deep into the snail's throat. It turned out the entire critical hit from earlier was just a distraction to give it a chance to get close to its opponent. Because the slime understood, unless I let you hit me on purpose. After figuring out the enemy's weakness, finishing it off became easier than ever thanks to the information advantage. The digestion process happened quickly, bringing the slime a massive amount of experience, helping it level up straight to level 11. Even though it still felt disgusted by the taste of monster meat, it couldn't deny the superior leveling efficiency this food source provided. With high spirits, the slime continued its journey. Suddenly, it heard a rustling sound in the bushes and confidently challenged it, thinking it was a familiar prey. "Hey snail, come out, I'm talking to you, stop hiding." But the one that stepped out wasn't a beetus, slow-moving snail, but a giant blade-legged centipede with a sturdy shell and dozens of legs as sharp as blades. Facing the intense, murderous aura from this new predator, the slime trembled in terror. Oh crap, how do I run from this beast? The centipede didn't hesitate for a second, lunging forward and unleashing wind-tearing slashes. The slime panicked, waving its poisonous mushrooms to defend itself and pleading, "Back off, don't come over here." However, the old trick no longer worked, as the mushrooms were easily shredded into pieces by those sharp legs. The centipede pressed its advantage, unleashing the 100-legged bind skill, wrapping tightly around the slime's gelatinous body and beginning to squeeze hard. The blades on its legs stabbed deep into the slime mass, causing its body to deform severely. But right in that situation, the slime broke into a triumphant smile. It realized this was a matter of countertyping. Its liquid body was completely immune to attacks from sharp weapons. Despite the centipede's frantic struggling, the slime began to envelop and absorb the predator in return. It excitedly welcomed this gift of experience that had come to its doorstep without the slightest bit of hesitation. After the battle, the slime continued its journey and encountered many other creatures like beetles and ants. It started to view the world through the eyes of a confident hunter, even finding those insects somewhat elegant. Although he was disappointed that he couldn't reach his goals of flying high, and even though he decided to skip some creatures that didn't suit him, the slime's leveling journey was going incredibly well. In just a short time, he reached level 13, with significant improvements to his stats and skills. While enjoying a delicious red mushroom, the slime hummed optimistically. Eating meat really does level you up fast. Slime is a genius. La la la, this is so good. The slime looked smugly at his rapidly advancing food chain chart. He quietly thought it was time to change the menu and started craving frog legs. Standing atop a pile of creature remains, he laughed loudly and self-indulgently. With this pace, once I get through the most difficult early stage, the process from level 1 to 100 will be like a rolling snowball. My evolution won't be stopped. Dominating this other world is definitely something to look forward to. While lost in his dreams of hegemony, he suddenly stopped in front of a vast pond in the middle of the ruined forest. Looking at the crystal blue water, the slime wondered, "Is there anything good in the lake? Let's go down and explore." Thinking it was a great idea, he boldly stepped in with the mindset of, "How will I know if I don't try?" But as soon as he touched the water, the slime's body suddenly swelled up like a balloon about to burst, making him panic and scream. "Wah, wah, wah. What is this? I'm bloating. I'm bloating. I feel like I'm about to explode." The system immediately explained the phenomenon of osmotic pressure, causing a single-celled creature like him to absorb water until he expanded. Realizing the danger, the slime hurriedly retreated, putting his plan to conquer the ocean on hold. Just then, a giant creature with a sturdy shell suddenly emerged from the water right behind him. The slime trembled as he turned his head, stammering uncontrollably. Crab, crab, crab." In front of him was a giant crab, constantly blowing bubbles. Instead of being afraid, the slime's eyes lit up as he imagined a delicious plate of king crab. He drooled, thinking, that plump, delicious-looking crab claw, the crab roe, and the tasty meat. This is high-class food. I've eaten so many worms. This time, I can finally nourish myself properly. He immediately changed his tone to be sweet, to make friends. Hello, let's be friends." But the crab didn't care at all. It calmly crawled onto a rock in the middle of the pond. Seeing the opponent ignoring him, the slime cursed inwardly. Damn it, is it not falling for it? He told himself not to waste time. Risking his life by going into the water for a single meal wasn't worth it. But in his mind, he still plotted to use his poisonous slime to contaminate the water source. Suddenly, the crab turned its head and unleashed a powerful bubble water gun skill. The powerful water jet pierced his body, causing the slime to lose 25 HP immediately. He shouted in shock. "Wait, crabs can shoot water guns too?" Before he could recover, more water jets rained down, taking another 10 HP. The slime quickly dodged behind a giant tree to avoid the hits, secretly assessing his opponent. That water gun attack can actually deal damage to me. Clearly, its strength is a level higher than those worms I met earlier. He curled himself up, stubbornly clinging to the rough bark, intending to endure. If I go out now, I'll become a target. Let's see who's more patient. But the crab had no intention of letting its prey go. With its large, strong claws and hard shell, the monster approached the tree menacingly. Suddenly, the crab accelerated, using a dash skill straight toward where the slime was hiding. Witnessing such aggression, the slime panicked. Is it really trying to eat me? That's scary. With no way back, he hurriedly used his strength to scramble high up the tree. While climbing, he complained about the ironic role reversal from hunter to prey, but he managed to calculate using the branches to block and neutralize the opponent's water gun range. However, his bad luck wasn't over when a purple spider with glowing red eyes suddenly appeared right in front of him, letting out threatening screeches. Busy dealing with the enemy on the ground, the slime snapped, "You scared me. It's just a spider. Get lost. I'm busy right now." Seeing the spider stubbornly blocking the way and constantly provoking him, the slime started to warn it angrily. "Hey, I advise you not to be ignorant. I've eaten plenty of bugs like you." Replying to that threat, the spider suddenly unleashed a limb-cutting slash skill, using its razor-sharp legs to deliver a swift, air-splitting blow right into the slime's body. The direct hit caused him to lose 30 HP. The slime was dazed, unable to believe his eyes. Wait, wasn't I supposed to be immune to physical attacks? Is this a game bug? I need to report this to the admin. The monster spider, level 16 with level 8 swordsmanship, began to cruelly gnaw on the slime's body. Just when he was in the nick of time, a powerful stream of water suddenly shot up. It was the bubble water gun from the giant crab below. The slime was horrified to realize he was trapped between a spider in front and a crab behind, his HP dropping by another 17 points. He bitterly muttered, "Talk about bad luck. When it rains, it pours. I'm already broke. And now I'm hitting a wall." Driven into a corner, the slime could only watch as the crab under the tree kept firing water like rain in his direction. Luckily, the water jet just grazed the slime and shot straight at the spider. Caught in the crossfire, the unlucky spider immediately had one of its legs broken. Angry at the crab, the spider immediately counterattacked with a spider silk shooting skill. The stream of white silk shot out at lightning speed, tightly wrapping around the crab's hard shell, pinning the underwater predator to the ground. Not giving the opponent a chance to react, the spider lunged down to unleash a powerful limb-cutting slash. However, the crab quickly activated a shell shield to block the sharp strike. A fierce battle erupted as the crab used its large, strong claws to continuously deliver air-splitting pinches. But the spider was smarter, using controlled spider silk to lock up the opponent's weapons. Witnessing the mutually destructive fight, the slime smugly thought to himself, "Keep fighting. I'll just stand on the sidelines and watch." The crab started to weaken, foaming at the mouth in pain. The crab still tried to swing its claw to deliver a decisive blow, but the pink spider quickly jumped back to dodge the opponent's weak counterattack. By now, the crab's large, strong claws were tightly wrapped by countless layers of silk from the spider's control skill. The smaller spiders coordinated smoothly, leaving the giant crab completely immobilized, only able to lie there, blowing bubbles in frustration. Watching this scene, the slime smugly commented from afar, "The crab is wrapped up like steamed crab. The spider wins." But just as the spider was about to enjoy its victory, an unexpected variable occurred. From the crab's abdomen, a deep blue energy began to accumulate and explode. High-pressure water jets shot out like sharp blades, sweeping away everything in their path. The pink spider couldn't react in time. It was blasted away by the incredibly powerful water gun and shredded into pieces. Immediately, the terrifying slime exclaimed, "Geez, its survival instinct just kicked in." After unleashing such a destructive attack, the crab also fell into a state of total exhaustion, lying motionless amidst the chaotic scene with spider fragments scattered all around. Noticing the noise had stopped, the slime crept out from its hiding spot and wondered, "Finally done. Spitting. Huh." It used its teleportation skill to quickly approach the weakened prey, not forgetting to leave a sarcastic remark. "Burned out already, sweetie? My turn to make a meal out of you." However, finishing off an opponent with such a sturdy shell wasn't easy. The slime started calculating every angle, from using poison to trying to plug its mouth, but all seemed unfeasible, fearing the target would recover before it could make a move. Finally, it spotted a large rock nearby and came up with a bold idea. "Store the rock in my inventory first." Just as it intended to store the rock, the system immediately warned that there wasn't enough space. The slime realized that storage capacity depended on its HP, and right now, that pile of stored mushrooms was taking up too much room. With no other choice, it frantically spat out all the mushrooms, literally taking out the trash, dumping all the mushrooms to make room for the rock. After clearing the memory, the giant rock was finally collected successfully. However, the weight of it caused the slime's body to distort. It groaned, "Ugh, ugh," still a bit reluctant, so heavy. Carrying its heavy weapon, the slime slowly approached the exhausted crab. "Hey, here to harvest you." It climbed to a vantage point and suddenly released the rock, dropping it from above. Even though the crab tried to struggle, its shell was already cracked and couldn't withstand the impact. The slime, feeling smug, saw the target still trying to struggle. A massive thud echoed as the rock crushed its target in an instant. The system announced that the three-way battle had ended with victory for the slime. It officially leveled up to level 14 and received additional skill enhancement points. "Ha-ha," the slime laughed triumphantly and excitedly declared, "Time to eat." The golden crab meat and roe were exposed in a tempting display. Without a moment's hesitation, it began to enjoy the lavish feast. "I won't be polite." The slime devoured every plump piece of crab meat, the explosion of fresh flavor making it so emotional it almost cried. Compared to rotting logs, moldy bread, or the taste of snail mucus, this was truly the first culinary heaven it had experienced since being reincarnated. Going from fast food to a 5-star buffet, it told itself it must survive to find even more delicacies in this world. After wiping up the last bit of meat so as not to waste nature's gift, the slime let out a long, satisfied burp. By this point, it had reached level 14 with a maximum HP of up to 168, along with significantly upgraded decomposes. Standing in the middle of the grass, it began to tense up, using all its might to push. Its face was contorted from the exertion, and it couldn't stop shouting. Trying to recall the crab's water gun move, the slime believed that if the opponent could force water out of its body to attack, then a slime like itself could do it too. It continued to roar, "Come on, out with it." But instead of a powerful jet of water, tiny droplets of slime just dribbled weakly from its side. It shouted in disappointment, "Not this side." Again and again, the yellow liquid shot out everywhere, without any power at all. The slime was exhausted, lying flat in the pool of liquid it had excreted itself. It felt its body was so loose that it couldn't control the direction of the shot, and didn't understand why. In a moment of desperation, it decided to activate the level 1 burst skill. A powerful stream of liquid suddenly launched out, hitting the crab's carcass directly. The system announced that the burst skill had evolved into cellular spray, allowing it to mobilize cells within its body to generate great kinetic impact. The slime was incredibly excited. No cooldown needed. Shooting freely without worrying about running out of ammo, it continuously fired yellow jets of liquid that tore through the air without needing to wait for a cooldown, causing the skill to quickly level up to 2. However, the price was that its HP was continuously dropping with every shot. The slime realized that cellular substance was its combat resource, and it wasn't cut out for magical attacks. Disappointed for a moment, it returned to the royal road of decomposing and absorbing to grow bigger. A new idea popped up. If eating other creatures helps the body grow, what if I eat parts of my own body? Eating myself is way too creepy, guys. The slime found a lump of slime that had broken off earlier and decided to use the retrieval skill. As soon as it reabsorbed the lost body part, it received all the experience, memories, and expended HP, and even its maximum HP increased by 30 points. Strange memories from the split body part started flooding into its mind, making it feel magical, even though it didn't have a head to begin with. The slime realized that body parts that had been cut off, even without independent consciousness, could still continue to decompose on their own. When it retrieved them, it would gain all the experience and life energy that part had accumulated. Discovering a massive game glitch, it came up with the idea of splitting its body into many parts to work simultaneously, turning itself into a creature with countless mouths. If that's really how it works, my leveling efficiency will go through the roof. The slime immediately activated the fission skill, accepting the cost of 10 HP to detach a new clone. It also noted that whether it was the main body or a clone, as long as the HP dropped below 30, it would fall into a dangerous state of self-cannibalization. With its maximum HP now up to 198, the slime was confident it could split as many times as it wanted, as long as there was enough food to compensate. It started bracing itself, putting all its strength into performing a larger separation. Erg. After spending another 30 HP, a large mass of slime shot out, forming a complete clone. Watching the clone move flexibly according to its will, the slime smugly imagined itself wearing a ninja headband and excitedly cheered. "Isn't this just learning shadow clone jutsu?" In its excitement, the slime yelled out, "Slime-style Naruto is here." It pointed and ordered the first body to take care of the dead tree, then turned to the next clone. "And you're in charge of the pile of mushrooms over here." The clones quickly spread out, starting the process of clearing resources professionally. At this moment, the slime had officially reached level 14 with a fully upgraded skill set. From level 6 Decomposition, level 8 Pulsation, to level 2 Cellular Spray, ready to turn the forest into its own private leveling farm. After arranging its clones, the slime dealt with the remaining spider meat to bring its body back to peak condition, silently reminding itself that when hunting out here, safety always comes first. The feeling of its power surging made it hard not to be smug. "I feel like I've grown fearsomely strong, perhaps even a bit delusional." With newfound confidence, it tested its defensive capabilities and realized it was completely immune to all physical stabs and slashes, from common to high-level attacks. The only thing worrying it now is magic, something it hasn't encountered in this forest yet. The slime wonders if this world is just a simple predator-prey environment, or if its own territory is simply too small to have met any real mystical threats. Beneath the swamp water, the slime began a bold plan, using parts of its own split body as bait. The greedy ghost crabs took the bait immediately. They frantically snapped their claws at the glowing yellow slime blocks, completely unaware that death was closing in. The slime skillfully lured the crabs out of the water, straight toward the tree base, where its main body was waiting. As soon as the prey was in position, the slime dropped a massive rock from above. A deafening crash echoed, crushing the entire group of crabs in the blink of an eye. The system chimed repeatedly, announcing it had defeated the targets and gained a massive amount of experience, officially leveling the slime up to 15 and granting it 0.6 enhancement points. It cheered with excitement. 6 ghost crabs down. After decomposing them and fully recovering, the slime felt unstoppable. Bring on the next crab. I'll take them all. It began a grueling training regimen to master its long-range attacks. In its imagination, the slime transformed into a cool gunslinger with its acid shot technique. Streams of yellow acid were fired repeatedly with terrifying speed and power, quickly leveling the skill up to 6. After 2 days of ascetic training, even though its health dropped significantly from self-consumption, the slime was satisfied with the results. Both the power and accuracy of its moves had improved. However, it still struggled to find a way to become even stronger, having hit a limit of 30 shots per full health bar. A brilliant idea struck. The slime decided to spice up its technique. It wrapped its acidic slime around poisonous mushrooms or sharp stones before firing, creating attacks that dealt extreme poison damage or physical impact. Just as it was gloating about being a genius, the slime suddenly froze when it heard strange sounds coming from a hollow in an ancient tree. In the dark of night, shimmering spots appeared, sparking its curiosity. Was the sound coming from that tree hole? What was that glimmering light? It crept closer to investigate, only to be horrified as it faced a giant owl emitting a deep blue aura. The slime trembled, realizing the truth. Oh, for heaven's sake, don't tell me a magical beast? Feeling a terrifying pressure, the slime could only scream and flee before it lost its life. Run for your lives. It scrambled to escape. Yet, the owl didn't attack. It just watched silently, activating a visual resonance skill. As it turned out, this beast was the eyes and ears for a group of adventurers nearby. Through the owl's eyes, a young girl with pink hair was closely observing the slime's every move. When asked by her teammates if she found anything, she just replied nonchalantly, "Nothing. Just a small, slightly strange monster." Meanwhile, the adventurers were moving deeper into the forest, looking suspicious. The lead mage muttered, "This is strange. We haven't even seen a high-level monster on the way." The group tried to find a way out, urging their mount on. "Little Rockback, you have to sniff carefully and lead us out of here." The situation looked grim, as their magical connection to their guild leader had been completely cut off. Hiding behind a nearby tree, the slime trembled, realizing it had been spotted. Damn it, that gaze looked right through me. It didn't dare hesitate. It immediately bolted, knowing full well it couldn't mess with this opponent. Standing before a river blocking its path, the slime wondered how to get across safely. Necessity is the mother of invention. It decided to apply physics, the law of momentum. It immediately activated Acid Shot, draining its energy to fire forcefully forward, turning itself into an arrow that zoomed across the water. The landing was painful, costing it 80 HP, but the goal was achieved. It crawled wearily deep into the forest, panting heavily. That far away should be safe, right? To recover, the slime started eating rotten branches and reflected on its situation. Bacteria, stay calm. Eat these branches to boost up first. Though bacteria at the same rank are strong, facing a higher-ranked opponent would surely mean certain death. Suddenly, a massive shadow with glowing red eyes appeared right behind it, radiating a chilling bloodlust. The slime froze, sweat pouring down. This oppressive feeling was even scarier than the owl earlier. It trembled as it turned to look, realizing its stalker wasn't the owl, but something immensely huge. Before, it was a massive body part, covered in hard scales, looking like a severed finger. The slime gasped. This is a finger." It realized in shock that this was a golden finger in the literal sense. Its intuition told the slime this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It excitedly imagined that if it could decompose and absorb this high-level monster's finger, it would leap dozens of levels in strength, perhaps even evolving into a new, powerful form. Thinking of that prospect, the slime chuckled gleefully. Heh heh heh. It immediately engulfed the giant finger and activated its decomposition skill to swallow that massive source of energy. The slime diligently covered the giant finger, but instead of a delicious meal, the system repeatedly poured cold water on its hopes with decomposition failed notifications. The level gap was too wide. It couldn't affect the target. Its own cells even suffered backlash, causing its health to drop rapidly. Panicked by this unexpected turn of events, it was forced to use Detach to cut off the part of its body that was stuck, landing on the ground in shame. Lying flat on a log to recover, the slime lamented bitterly. "My decomposition skill level is too low. Damn it, I should have spent my skill points here earlier. Watching a fortune right in front of its eyes but unable to swallow it. It felt as frustrated as a eunuch standing in a brothel. It told itself to level up quickly and return for the harvest. But before it could steady its nerves, the ground began to shake violently. A pitch-black pit of death opened right beneath its feet, swallowing everything nearby. In that moment of peril, it immediately activated Acid Shot to launch itself onto a nearby ancient tree to escape the spreading crater. Looking down from above at the deep hole that had just appeared, the slime trembled, realizing how small it was in this world full of monsters. It burst into tears. This world is too cruel. I should just go back to being a normal blob. Determined to let go of his arrogance, the slime chose a cowardly but safe path, burrowing deep underground to hide and grow. Deep in the heart of the dark pit, the flickering light from the colossal creature earlier hadn't faded yet. Glowing red eyes, filled with killing intent, appeared in the darkness, radiating an overwhelming pressure that made the very air feel frozen solid. Glancing at the map, the slime realized he was still within range of the owl and that colossal creature. He decided to stop and set up a temporary base to wait for tomorrow, when he could recall his clones back to his main body. He began applying his decomposition skill to an ancient tree trunk, calculating everything with extreme care, making the entrance a bit small, then expanding the space inside. That way, any monster with a slightly larger build wouldn't be able to get in. Mentally donning a hard hat, he excitedly declared, "Time to build. Let's get to work, boys." The tunneling process went incredibly smoothly, thanks to his powerful decomposition skill. After hollowing out the interior, the slime even carefully brought back some glowing mushrooms to plant as sparkly nightlights. Looking at his little room, fully equipped with a stash of food and a soft, green leaf bed, he flopped down in satisfaction to enjoy the fruits of his labor. Mission accomplished. This temporary base had a sophisticated design, featuring a fake entrance filled with poisonous mushrooms to trick enemies, while the real bedroom was hidden deep inside through a narrow tunnel. As he leisurely gnawed on some rotten wood, the slime hummed happily. From now on, I'm a slime with a home. Talk about peace of mind. But his joy didn't last long. High-pitched buzzing sounds echoing from outside irritated him, and he couldn't stand the disturbance. The slime poked his head out and shouted, "Hey, cut that out. You're bothering the neighbors." Before him was a massive swarm of yellow bees. The sound of their wings beating roared like fighter jets. Instead of feeling afraid, a bold idea popped into his head. As a bee flew past, the slime suddenly fired an incredibly accurate shot, taking down his target in a heartbeat to rake in the experience points. He gave a mischievous grin and nonchalantly greeted his uninvited guests. "Hey everyone." The aggressive swarm of bees rushed forward, but the slime had already quickly shrunk the entrance, turning his own trap into a literal meat grinder. He boasted smugly, "Step right in, you're not getting out." The foolish bees dove straight into the trap and were completely engulfed by slime. The system constantly notified him that targets had been defeated, with experience points skyrocketing. After clearing out the vanguard, the slime nonchalantly tossed the dried-up husks outside. He climbed up to a high branch, tracked the flight path of the remaining bees, and suddenly spotted a giant nest hanging in the distance. His gaze turned cold as he locked onto his new target. "Found the nest! It's honey buffet day." But his plan was cut short when he noticed the bees moving in a strange formation. "Huh?" He blurted out in confusion just before an entire army of yellow bees, dense as a black storm cloud, swarmed straight toward him. Though surprised by their overwhelming numbers, the slime kept his arrogant attitude. "Come and get it. Your attacks are useless against me anyway. The more the merrier," he boasted, though he thought to himself, "I'm gonna get grilled if I'm not careful." The bees didn't use their stingers. Instead, they swarmed him into a ball, flapping their wings rapidly to generate friction heat. The system immediately issued an emergency warning. Ambient temperature was too high, causing his cells to begin dying. With his HP dropping rapidly, the slime realized in a panic that he was being cooked. "No way! It can't end like this." In the face of mortal danger, he immediately activated his cell shot skill, unleashing a flurry of golden fluid beams that tore through the air to break the encirclement. But his enemies this time weren't so simple. A worker bee quickly deployed a wax shield, blocking his attack with ease. He stared in shock as his favorite move was completely nullified by the opponent's sturdy defense. The slime realized the forces at this hive were much stronger than the ones outside. Suddenly, a large yellow bee traced a pattern in the air with its legs, activating a summoning skill. A giant magic circle appeared, calling forth a wave of yellow bee warriors equipped with solid wax shields, leaving the slime stunned by the scale of their army. He realized in shock that this was an evolution capable of using magic, including both yellow bee soldiers and yellow bee mages. Facing the murderous gaze of his enemies, the slime didn't hesitate to activate Cell Shot again. Golden beams tore through the air, piercing the formation, and taking out several bees instantly. However, the number of enemies was too high, and he began to worry as each shot consumed a massive amount of cell mass, causing his HP to drop continuously. Luckily, since he was still stuck to a large tree, the slime quickly used his osmosis skill to decompose the rotten wood, constantly regenerating the lost HP. But the bees began using their wax shields to block his attacks, which frustrated the slime greatly. In his storage space, there was only one damage-boosting stone left. Seeing two bees rushing straight at him with their stingers, the slime wore a sinister smile. "Serving yourselves up on a platter? Don't mind if I do." He immediately engulfed them and nonchalantly declared, "Well then, I'll just have to accept." As a result, he harvested 4 more bee stingers and 1 sharp bee needle. Even though his storage space was already sounding alarms for being overloaded, he took advantage of his new loot. The slime wrapped the bee needle in slime and fired it forward with all his might, shattering the wax shield and finishing off the shield bearer in an instant. Witnessing that terrifying power, the yellow bee mage was stunned and immediately ordered the entire army to retreat. Watching the bees scramble to flee through the magic circle, the slime mockingly sneered. "Running away? What, did you only realize who you were messing with after losing?" He watched smugly as the silhouettes of his enemies faded into the air. Seeing the bees before him, the slime felt no fear instead. He hungrily licked his lips. "I really want a taste." But he was dead wrong. This opponent possessed power far beyond his imagination. The yellow bee mage began focusing energy and shouted, "Converge!" Then, it waved its staff to activate the basic fire magic, Fireball. A giant, blazing fireball was launched. The direct collision left the slime stunned, and he let out a scream. Arg! The intense heat caused him heavy damage, stripping away 70 HP instantly. The bee mage didn't give him a chance to breathe, and continued to summon 2 more fireballs. Trembling, the slime clung tightly to the tree, trying to activate his regeneration ability while realizing the grim truth. "Fire magic, it completely counters me, plus the honeybee's ranged attacks." Realizing the situation is too disadvantageous, he made up his mind. "If I can't win, I'm running." While fleeing, the slime desperately tried to launch a counterattack by spraying corrosive liquid, sending streams of yellow slime raining down on its pursuers. But the bees were incredibly coordinated. 2 yellow soldier bees immediately rushed to the front, shielding the others by activating their wax shield duo skill. A solid hexagonal barrier appeared, completely blocking the slime's attack. Watching this, the slime cried out in frustration. "Is this game cheating? How does the boss have a tank?" While the slime was still struggling to find an escape route, the yellow bee mage raised its staff once again. It began drawing a new magic circle, and coldly activated bee swarm summoning to call for reinforcements. The yellow bees swarmed in frantically, growling as they crawled out. Among them, the kamikaze bees triggered their bodies, creating a series of powerful explosions right on the tree trunk, sending the slime flying through the thick smoke and dust. As it landed on another branch, the slime felt a violent vibration. The honeybee mage watched coldly from above, while the worker bees frantically sawed through the branch the slime was clinging to. With no support left, the slime and the rotting wood fell into thin air. The honeybee mage stood in the center of the glowing magic circle. It focused all its energy and shouted, "Converge!" A giant fireball gathered, releasing such intense heat that the entire forest seemed to scorch. The monster swung its staff, launching the massive fireball straight at its target. The blast consumed both the slime and the worker bees, exploding terrifically upon impact. The heat and pressure from the blast blew everything away, causing a small frog in the pond below to croak in terror. The thick smoke after the horrific explosion left the yellow bees confused. They kept searching frantically, but found no trace of their enemy. The honeybee mage broke out in a cold sweat, its instincts telling it that something was terribly wrong, as the target had vanished without a trace right under its nose. Suddenly, the slime appeared from behind the ancient tree, launching a surprise sneak attack that caught the bees completely off guard. It chuckled sinisterly, frantically enveloping and devouring the remaining worker bees. "Too late! Your main force is all outside. You can't stop the slime with just a few of you." It was a perfect cicada sheds, its skin strategy. It turned out that from the very beginning, the slime had secretly spread its cells through the core of the ancient tree, quietly creating a secret shortcut straight to the bees' lair, without anyone knowing. The plan worked flawlessly, as it sacrificed 150 HP to create a clone as bait. While the foolish bees focused all their firepower on destroying the decoy, its real body crawled through the underground path to infiltrate deep into the hive. As soon as it approached, the slime immediately activated its scout skill, spreading out countless slimy filaments to sweep every corner of the enemy's nest. Its search network quickly covered the entire hive, gliding past nursery areas full of larvae, but it shook its head. Eggs? No. I need to find better stuff. Going deeper, the slime stumbled upon a stash of golden, shimmering honey, giving off a fragrance so sweet it couldn't help but crave it. Oh, a honey storage room. But, since there's a more important goal ahead, it suppressed its hunger, telling itself it would come back for the honey later, then continued to crawl into the darkest basements of the hive. The slime suddenly lunged out of the rubble, shouting excitedly, "Hello, Queen! I'm here to visit!" Appearing before it was a massive queen bee with a plump, golden body, busy munching on food. At the same time, warrior bees with glowing red eyes and heavy gear began to surround the intruder menacingly. Not wanting to waste a second, the slime immediately lunged, using its slimy filaments to wrap tightly around the massive body of the leader. It shouted at the soldier bees, who were brandishing their shields and spears. "Don't you dare move. Your queen is in my hands." The queen bee let out a painful screech, causing the entire bee legion to fall into chaos and rage at this bold hostage-taking. Seeing that the bees still wouldn't back down and kept moving closer, the slime coldly declared, "Negotiations over. Time to say goodbye." As soon as the words left its mouth, it sent the queen bee to the afterlife right in front of the worker bees. Witnessing the horrific scene, the worker bees could only cry out in shock before the entire hive started falling apart, losing their command and dying off in droves. Standing by the lifeless body of its enemy, the slime returned to its small form and calmly analyzed. "The queen is like a mainframe computer. Just kill her, and the entire bee colony naturally falls apart." Watching the warrior bees twitch and die on the ground, it mused to itself, "I actually intended to talk to them for a bit, but it seems even with a social structure, low-level magical beasts only act on instinct." Under the dim moonlight, the system sent a notification. "Congratulations. The slime has officially reached level 21 after clearing the beehive. Due to absorbing a massive amount of nutrients, its HP temporarily exceeded its maximum threshold, reaching 918. Along with the title Weak Plant, it noticed that the pulse skill had reached its maximum level, and decomposition had also risen to level 7. The slime curiously checked out a new skill called Central Command, but when it tried to add skill points, the system reported an error because it didn't have any subordinates to command. Though slightly disappointed that the racial skill Decomposition couldn't be leveled up directly but required proficiency, it was balanced by the fact that its storage space had expanded significantly, now filled with jars of premium honey capable of healing 400 HP. Looking at the pile of yellow bee corpses at its feet, the slime suddenly fell into a pensive, sentimental mood. "Wait, why do I suddenly feel so evil?" It recalled its harsh survival journey from decomposing the very first snail, to the spider, the crab, and now, an entire bee tribe. Every level gained was paid for with the lives of other creatures. In its imagination, a small crab named Crab Jr. was sitting sadly, waiting for his father. "Dad, why aren't you home yet? Didn't you say you'd play games with me tonight?" "You lied to me again, Dad." In the little crab's memory, his father was an exemplary man, always busy with work and clients to provide for his family. His mother comforted him gently. "Daddy is working hard for us, Crab Jr. You have to understand your father." When the clock struck late at night and the husband still hadn't returned, the mother worriedly took her son out to search. "It's so dark, and he hasn't called. Could he have gotten drunk on his way home? Crab Jr., let's go out and find your father." The mother and son sang softly as they walked, so as not to disturb the neighbors, until they saw a familiar figure stumbling at the end of the road. Crab Jr. shouted in overwhelming joy, "It's Dad!" The little crab happily ran forward. "The house is this way. You're heading in the wrong direction." The mother crab smiled, urging her child to help his father, thinking he'd had too much to drink. But when that shadow slowly turned around, a slimy, neon-green monster with glowing red eyes appeared, coldly muttering, "Kid, your dad just ended up in my pot. Tastes delicious." The market crab's shrill scream tore through the silent night. Facing the cruel reality that he had just destroyed a happy family, the slime cried out in agony. "Ah, so I've become the villain." The slime sighed, trying to shake the wandering thoughts from his mind. "I'm just a merlin, right? Just a little different species, that's all." He realized that in this world of big fish eats little fish, if you aren't the hunter, you'll soon become the prey. That is an immutable law of nature, and to survive, hunting and deconstructing are his only options. He told himself, material needs dictate consciousness. Better solve the survival issue first. The slime decided to go retrieve the split fragments he had released early that morning to see if any surprises awaited him. Moving through the foliage, the slime suddenly froze when he saw flickering firelight in the distance. He curiously approached to observe and was left in awe. Could it be humans? Let me, the great bacteria, take a look. Hiding behind a bush, the slime was stunned. It really is humans. Before him, a group of adventurers was resting by the campfire. A man asked the girl lying down, "Sleeping on a pig? That girl is bold." The girl was Near Rose, a C-rank adventurer from the Baichu Guild. She replied nonchalantly, "Not at all. When relaxed, Little Bristle's fur is actually very soft. You worked hard today, and tomorrow I'll have to trouble you to help us find the way out." Sitting nearby, Captain Hector, a B-rank adventurer with a worried expression, said in a low voice, "I originally intended to find traces of the Guildmaster. I never expected that I would end up lost myself. As the captain, I can't shirk this responsibility." Near Rose apologized. Seeing the captain blaming himself, Confi, a B-rank mage holding a spellbook, hurriedly reassured him. The magic communication is completely cut off, not a trace of high-level monsters. Even the forest has turned into a labyrinth. No one could have expected so many strange phenomena to occur. So, Captain Hector, please don't blame yourself. She added that even though they hadn't found the Guildmaster, there was no need to worry too much, because the Guildmaster was one of the top 3 strongest warriors on the continent. We just need to find the way back and report the situation to the church. However, Confi also admitted that while the Guildmaster's strength was unquestionable, he had lost contact for the past 2 years. Outside, rumors were circulating that the Baichu Guild was under suspicion by the church, and that the Guildmaster's disappearance might be linked to a secret mission from the Pope. 10 years ago, Guildmaster Ghost founded the Baichu Guild with the ideal of no discrimination based on race or class. All resources were shared equally. It was this rapid growth that made the church jealous. Hector recalled 2 years ago, when Ghost entered this swamp forest and vanished without a trace. Losing the Guildmaster's protection, the guild gradually disintegrated and was oppressed. Hector, indebted to Ghost for saving his life, was determined to organize this squad to search for him, and he sincerely thanked Near Rose and Confi for being the only ones to answer the call. Near Rose sighed softly. If Guildmaster Ghost hadn't founded the Baichu Guild, someone of a minority profession like me would never have become an adventurer. She lay lazily by the fire, eyes never leaving her spellbook, and teased, "Is that so? You can control mid-level monsters. A bunch of guilds are fighting over you now. Even if something happened to Guildmaster Ghost, you wouldn't have to worry about finding another home." This sensitive remark made Near Rose angry. She snapped, "Confi, just shut up and get some sleep." Seeing her partner lose his temper, Confi immediately backed down. Sorry, pretend I never said anything." Hiding behind a nearby bush, the slime listened intently to every word, thinking to himself, "Guilds and churches? Sounds like a long-running drama. Boring." Realizing this was crucial intelligence about the world, he decided to take a risk and tried to stretch his body out to act as a listening device. He began using his shape-shifting skill, elongating his body to get closer to the adventurers. But Confi lived up to his reputation as a sharp mage. Immediately, he activated Ice Spike. A sharp pillar of ice thrust up from the ground, piercing straight through the slime's gelatinous body. The system immediately issued an emergency warning. The exposed status caused his speed to drop by 90%. Confi lay back down calmly. "Don't be tense. I took care of it," Hector asked, still on guard. "What was it?" Near Rose immediately called her mount. Little Bristle. The aggressive wild boar monster charged at the ice pillar. It sniffed the trembling blob of slime, then suddenly opened its mouth and bit down hard. The sudden chomp terrified the slime. The savage beast tossed the slime into the air. Looking at the mouth full of sharp teeth waiting below, the slime screamed in despair. "It's over. I'm going to end up as minced slime meat." Just in the nick of time, Near Rose hurriedly intervened. "Little Bristle. Don't eat it. No senseless killing. It's just a small monster passing by. It's not a threat. Let it go." Obedient to its owner, the beast grunted and spat the slime onto the ground. Near Rose picked him up gently, looking at him with affectionate eyes, and asked softly, "I feel like I've met you somewhere before. I have a feeling of familiarity. Do you want to sign a monster contract with me?" Little monster. Faced with that gentleness, the slime was so touched he wanted to cry. He cheered internally. "Wah! She's like an angel. Finally, I've found a bond in this other world. Yes. But Captain Hector immediately poured cold water on the situation. "Near Rose, don't do useless things. We still need to find a way out tomorrow. This isn't the time to collect monsters. Don't waste your mana on a low-level monster like a slime." That remark made the slime shout furiously. "Who's a slime? I am a noble slime, you blind fool. Near Rose reluctantly placed him on the ground. Yeah, I know. Realizing his inner thoughts weren't being understood, the slime felt dejected. They can't hear me talk. To prove he wasn't just some common creature, he had an idea. Got it. He started using his shifting skill, turning his body into complex circuits to draw on the ground. This strange transformation made Hector and Near Rose gasp in surprise. Near Rose. Look. What is this? The slime said triumphantly. Surely now, you know I'm a sentient being, right? But the truth was more brutal than he imagined. Looking at the pile of drawings on the ground, Hector marveled. Is it pooping? What kind of high-quality slime is this? Even Near Rose was bewildered. I'm not sure about that either. The slime completely collapsed in the face of this disastrous misunderstanding. He realized in shock. So, people in this other world don't speak Chinese. Realizing that communication was impossible, he feared that if he kept at it, he'd be seen as some bizarre monster and killed. So, he decided to retreat and leave instead. He thought, I'll just try to communicate later. I'm scared if I stay. They'll mistake me for a strange monster and kill me. Better to just get out of here for now. Before vanishing into the darkness, he consoled himself, knowing that at least he now knew humans truly existed in this world. Under the crescent moon, the slime quietly returned to the old forest, silently praying he wouldn't run into that terrifying owl again. To quickly reclaim his missing body parts, he immediately activated his central command skill. A deep blue radar network radiated from his body, sending out detection signals that pierced through the silent night. The sensory waves quickly locked onto the frequencies of his clones scattered everywhere. The slime cheered excitedly when he realized how effective his new skill was at pinpointing his targets. Not wanting to waste any time, he surged forward, slicing through the bushes, feeling the connection growing stronger just ahead. As soon as he spotted a giant clone clinging to a tree, the slime gasped in surprise. Whoa, that's huge. I wonder how many things this one has already absorbed. He immediately triggered his assimilation skill to reclaim that part of his body. The system constantly chimed with good news as his experience and HP surged past the maximum threshold. Continuing his journey, the slime reclaimed other pieces, raising his poison resistance to level 8 and officially hitting level 22 himself. But his joy was short-lived when a signal from one clone suddenly became weak, making him worry. The signal is fading. Oh no. My money. Who dares to steal from me? He frantically scanned his surroundings and discovered an unacceptable sight right by the mushroom patch. A leech was nonchalantly using its tooth-filled mouth to suck on a piece of his split body. Seeing his hard-earned progress being snatched away by someone else, the slime flew into a rage and roared, "Get lost!" He immediately unleashed a powerful acid shot, blasting the greedy leech far away. The slime found a small clone trembling on a mushroom and felt so heartbroken he almost cried. "Boo-hoo! My precious baby suffered so much. Don't worry, Daddy's here to take you home." But suddenly, a long, crimson tongue lashed out, sweeping the poor clone into the mouth of a giant green frog. Seeing that, the slime shouted in anger, You ate my precious baby! You're going to pay in blood for this, you filthy frog!" He immediately activated his acid shot skill, launching a sharp stone straight at the enemy's face. The attack hit its mark, and the slime smugly thought to himself, let that be a lesson to you. That was easy. Maybe I can even trade blows with that big snake-tailed bird now. But his smile quickly faded when he saw the frog was completely unharmed, even casually chewing on the stone in its mouth. The monster dove into the water to escape, causing the slime to panic and chase after it. "Don't you even think about running." He lunged and clung tightly to a rock on the shore, determined not to let his enemy get away. The frog quickly dove deep into the blue water, and the slime frantically fired a series of shots, but they only created harmless ripples on the surface. Staring at the calm lake, the slime gritted his teeth in frustration. "That burns. A gentleman's revenge is never too late. Just you wait." The frog suddenly jumped back onto land, and the slime smirked. "Oh, so you're back out, huh? Right. Frogs are amphibians and need to come up for air. You're dead meat now." However, the monster wasn't easily defeated. It immediately activated a physical attack skill, opening its tooth-filled mouth to strike. The slime quickly jumped high to dodge the move smoothly, causing the frog to miss. He immediately countered with an acid shot directed at his opponent. A stone struck the frog right in the eye, wounding it severely. It was in so much pain it couldn't even close its mouth. The slime stretched a part of his body to cling to an ancient tree for balance. He suddenly realized, wait, is this frog playing dirty, trying to lure me into the water? Not a chance. Reflecting on his own performance after the battle with the beehive, The slime understood that out here, being a predator or prey wasn't set in stone, and he told himself he needed to be a little more humble. The frog, despite its injured eye, let out a piercing screech and lunged forward. The slime prepared to fire again but panicked as he realized, "Oh no, I'm out of ammo." In a desperate situation, he decided to just let it go and attack first. He gathered his strength and spat a massive amount of golden slime straight at his enemy. The frog was completely covered in slime but still frantically opened its mouth, determined to swallow its target. The slime gasped in shock. What in the world? Seeing the monster still had amazing stamina despite being covered in slime, the frog leaped onto a tree and whipped its long, red tongue out, binding his body tightly. The slime realized in horror, "I'm done for. I'm going to turn into stringy slime at this rate." The monster pulled with all its might, stretching the slime's body like a rubber band. He could only use every ounce of strength he had to cling to the tree bark to avoid being dragged into the jaws of death. Being dragged away by the long tongue, the slime screamed in panic. "I'm done for. I'm done for. I'm done for." Just as he was about to fall into the deadly mouth, he managed to grab a branch and thrust it straight into the frog's gaping maw. The piercing strike sent the frog flying, and it fell straight into the deep pond. The slime hung on, exhausted, sweat dripping down as he had barely escaped death. That was too close. He stared down at the lake, where the enemy's corpse was slowly sinking into the darkness. The slime sighed with regret. "What a waste." The body fell into the water. "I can't even assimilate it." But before he could even recover, a massive white beam of light shot up at the speed of light, splitting the ancient tree where the slime was standing. The destructive power sent a huge chunk of wood flying into the silent night sky. From beneath the swamp, a terrifying entity with blood-red eyes and pale white skin appeared, unleashing a holy execution skill. The giant monster radiated an overwhelming killing intent, staring straight at the tiny creature hovering above. The slime stammered in shock. "What on earth? A frog evolving into a great white shark? Seriously?" The pale monster with shark teeth roared shrilly, suddenly launching a red blood whip that sent him flying. In the moment of freefall, the slime frantically stretched his body, grabbing a branch to save his life. He swung through the trees like a ninja, telling himself, "I'm good. I shouldn't take unnecessary damage." The slime realized this frog's second form was too bizarre. Even though it was a low-level monster, it radiated too much killing intent, so he decided to run away while he still could. But the monster unleashed its blood whip with a powerful strike, dropping the slime's HP by 199. The system warned him repeatedly that a foreign substance had entered his body, causing him to start dissolving. The slime panicked. "That's playing dirty. High-level poison? Stop hacking the game, you frog." And it didn't end there. The monster continued its assault with its tongue whip, launching a massive tongue toward him. It coiled tightly around the slime, and before he could even react, he was dragged down into the swamp. Although the physical damage only cost him 1 health point, the slime panicked as he realized he had fallen into the water. The system repeatedly warned of an imbalance in osmotic pressure and demanded he leave immediately. Directly below, the frog monster opened its mouth wide, executing a fatal chomp that swallowed the slime whole. The moment he fell into the dark throat, the panicked slime activated his teleportation skill, but it was too late. Damage notifications kept popping up, costing him 33 health points each time and causing him extreme pain. He bitterly realized that the monster's brief moment of opening its mouth had drained all his strength, making him unable to split himself to escape. In this life-or-death situation, the slime struggled amidst the digestive juices, ignoring the triumphant croaks of his enemy. Cornered and with no other choice, he decided to go all out, making a crazy gamble. Instead of resisting, he began frantically absorbing all the surrounding water and fluids into his body. The osmotic pressure imbalance caused the slime's body to expand terrifyingly. He roared in fury. "Eat me then. I'll let you eat until your stomach bursts." To survive the massive expansion, the slime frantically consumed all the honey from the yellow bee monster in his storage space, with each jar restoring 400 health points. His health and volume skyrocketed beyond control, leaving the frog monster no time to react. After the horrific explosion, the frog monster was completely obliterated. The slime had now transformed into a giant mass, standing as tall as a lush green mountain in the middle of the swamp forest. The system repeatedly sent notifications congratulating him on defeating the monster, granting him a massive amount of experience, and completing the decomposition of the creature to gain new antibodies. Looking down at his colossal body, the slime exclaimed in awe, "I've become so huge." The system confirmed he had obtained the osmotic pressure regulation skill. His current health reached a record-breaking 11,870,924. However, this surplus health would vanish after 1 hour. The slime realized that it was thanks to this giant form that he had enough cell fluid to regulate his osmotic pressure, a gain beyond his expectations. Seeing the countdown timer ticking down, he knew he had to make full use of this temporary achievement. Standing tall like a Godzilla-esque monster, the slime wore a knowing smile, thinking, time for a Godzilla-style game of rolling. With a size like a moving island, the slime began sweeping through the swamp area, continuously receiving notifications of successful decomposition and collecting abundant experience. He dove deep into the water, targeting schools of swimming fish and lunging to catch them. Though he easily captured prey thanks to his massive size, the slime soon realized the inconvenience. Even with osmotic pressure adaptation, moving through water with such high resistance made every step difficult for the little slime. He noticed the fish monsters were too agile, and wasting time hunting them here really wasn't worth it. Deciding to change territory, the slime told himself, time to go ashore, and moved, dragging his massive body out of the water. While moving, he encountered 2 small monsters that looked like otters, calmly enjoying a delicious fish meal. Wanting to give them a scare, the slime suddenly revealed himself and greeted them. "Hello, little ones. I'm here to share the meal." The appearance of the giant slime mass terrified the 2 small creatures, making them shake so much they couldn't stand. Without any pleasantries, the slime declared, "The fish is mine now." Then, he casually took their dinner, leaving the 2 poor monsters covered in sticky golden slime. Seeing their pitiful faces, the slime softened, telling himself, "Anyway, with so many resources, there's no need to kill unnecessarily. I'll let these cute monsters go for now. Consider it proof that I still retain a human soul." But that mercy was quickly extinguished when he discovered a new target nearby. "Oh, there's another one here." It was a small squirrel with fiery eyes and a tail burning brightly. Facing the slime, the squirrel didn't show any fear and instead bared its teeth in a threat. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Suddenly, the little squirrel unleashed a terrifying blast of firepower called Fire Bullet. The fireball exploded right on the slime's body, causing his health to drop continuously. Losing 60 points each time, he screamed in pain. "Oh, for heaven's sake, that's fire magic. Talk about super effective." Realizing the opponent really intended to attack, the slime curled up, emitting a terrifying pressure, and coldly declared, "Cute, you say? Let me grill you and see if you're still cute." The slime quickly decomposed the prey. The system repeatedly notified him that he had defeated the target and received abundant experience points. Right after that, gray tentacles from his body suddenly launched like swords, attacking a giant lizard lurking nearby. The slime transformed into a tall, ancient tree, with a glowing core in the middle of its chest. The lizard roared in fury and suddenly opened its mouth to spray a stream of green acid at its opponent. The attack hit its mark, causing the slime's wooden, stone-like body to corrode and smoke profusely. The lizard frantically roared and utilized a savage charge, putting all its strength into rushing straight toward the slime with destructive force. Facing the direct headbutt, the slime swung his giant tentacles, creating a sweeping blow that cut through the wind to block the attack. A series of sharp tentacles continuously launched from all sides, surrounding and pinning the lizard to the ground so it couldn't move. A sharp tree branch pierced through the monster's shoulder, causing it to lose all ability to resist. Immediately, from the wounds and all over the lizard's body, a series of white fungal spores began to germinate and multiply rapidly. The fungal spores stuck on the lizard bloomed simultaneously, piercing through its thick skin from the inside. Even in its giant eyes, glowing red tumors began to sprout, causing the monster to scream in agony as its vision was destroyed. Not giving his opponent time to recover, the slime in his giant form unleashed a wind-whipping tail swipe, sending the lizard flying dozens of meters away like a toy. Knocked to the ground and covered in injuries, the lizard still stubbornly tried to get up amidst the rubble. It began activating its thermal sensing skill, sticking out its long tongue to detect the exact location of its opponent through the thermal radiation emitted into the air. Once it identified the target hiding behind the camouflage, it put all its strength into its hind legs and suddenly leaped into the air to execute a fatal tail lash. Amidst the pile of wooden debris, the slime launched a spear made of concentrated liquid. It pierced the lizard's body from below in a flash, catching it completely off guard. The poor predator could only lie motionless on the rotting log. Its body was gradually eroded and dissolved by the neon green slime, which crazily engulfed every fiber of flesh. Through its final thermal vision, the slime now appeared as a massive entity, radiating an enormous energy that blanketed the entire vast forest, making any resistance utterly futile. a giant wave of slime crashed down from above, completely swallowing its enemy into its massive form. The system's countdown timer showed just over 6 minutes remaining, along with a notification about detecting foreign matter and activating antibodies after a successful digestion. Still in its giant form, the slime couldn't help but wonder about that mysterious object, but then it just shrugged it off. Whatever, just keep stuffing myself. Once the time is up, the power is gone. The massive blue sphere rolled wildly through the deep forest, crushing and devouring every tree in its path to make the most of its final moments of power. However, the slime started to realize something was off when it did some quick mental math. Wait, I've been through at least several dozen plots of land, haven't I? It observed its surroundings in shock, seeing the forest still as dense as if no rampage had ever occurred, and it cried out in disbelief. Why is this forest still so thick? Ah, the ground itself must be shifting. Just then, a giant black pillar suddenly tore through the night sky, surrounded by complex magic circles glowing under the moonlight. A blinding flash of light streaked by, leaving the slime stunned as it watched the massive magic formation and the earth-shattering explosion happening above. It asked in bewilderment, "Huh? Am I seeing things?" Just then, the system gave a final prompt about clearing out excess health. As the time ran out, the slime's massive body began to deflate, releasing waves of white smoke into the air. In the blink of an eye, the giant mass vanished, leaving the slime back to its tiny golden form with a single eye. It looked at itself and sighed in disappointment. Time's up. I'm back to being a little dough ball. A settlement notification screen appeared before it, making the slime exclaim in surprise. Wow, an experience summary. With this, I've reached level 49. With its new level, it gained the Weak Lord Creature achievement, and its health points skyrocketed to 2,891. The slime smugly thought to itself, what's this Weak Lord title? Does it mean I'm the boss of the kindergarten now? However, the system warned of nutritional overload, preventing it from gaining any more experience for the next hour, while also demanding it clean out its inventory, which was stuffed with junk. Looking at the mess inside, the slime felt annoyed. Ugh, better clear out my inventory first. Even though it's been expanded, there's just too much trash. It's making me nauseous. It started to retch, forcefully purging all the bones, rotting wood, and debris. After a while of struggling, the slime sighed with relief. Finally cleared out. My whole body feels so much lighter now. While it was wondering what to do since it couldn't gain more experience, a new notification appeared, suggesting that at level 60, it could choose to change jobs or evolve. The slime's eyes lit up with anticipation. Change jobs or evolve. As expected, this is the path to becoming a powerful monster in another world. It started dreaming of a qualitative change, like an animal attaining human-like intelligence. The image of a valiant, humanoid slime appeared in its imagination, making it feel thrilled. With this form, I can learn magic and conquer the entire other world. Ha ha ha, boasting before even evolving. As it was lost in its dreams of domination, sharp, whirring sounds suddenly echoed overhead. The slime looked up and spotted shadows darting quickly through the ancient tree branches. Looking closer, it realized they were the same magic-wielding yellow bees from before. Not wanting to miss a chance to learn about its enemy, the slime decided to check it out. It immediately launched itself to follow the bee swarm through the gloomy forest. Finally, what appeared before the slime was an area clustered with countless giant beehives, with an army of yellow bees swarming everywhere. The slime was astonished by the massive scale of the hive area. Whoa, the hives here are massive. This scale is just crazy. This is a mass-evolved bee colony. Suddenly, a giant foot stomped down hard, crushing the hives on the ground. The bees screamed in fury and swarmed out, but the creature didn't care at all. It casually opened its mouth, snatched up some delicious larvae, and muttered in satisfaction, "Tasty. Free larvae buffet. Let's go." The slime hid from a distance and was shocked to recognize the creature. Isn't this that strange bird I met earlier? But its color looks a bit different. It hadn't forgotten the terror of being frightened to the point of losing all will to survive by this creature. Secretly feeling lucky it hadn't been noticed that time, the monster revealed itself to be a giant bird whose tail was actually an independent venomous snake. The bees launched a frantic attack, but it was completely useless. Finally, they decided to use their overwhelming numbers to surround the enemy in a giant sphere. The monster used its powerful body to fling the clinging bees away. Immediately, a series of yellow bee mages activated glowing magic circles simultaneously. The monster tilted its head in confusion at the strange phenomenon, And right after, a rain of blazing fireballs poured down from above with terrifying power, creating chain explosions that shook the entire forest. Witnessing that immense strength, the slime hid behind a rock in awe. Did the bees go dark mode? Their power is insane. The giant bird was surrounded by fire until it turned bright red, with thick white smoke rising up. Yet, instead of being destroyed, its eyes flashed with a murderous glint, and it started to absorb the heat from the fire. The bees were horrified to see their enemy still standing firm. The monster had now turned completely crimson. It thrashed its body, creating a massive shockwave that brought down rows of nearby beehives. Using its thermal sensing skill, it easily identified its targets through the smoke. Its snake head stretched out, delivering ruthless strikes that left the bees only enough time to shriek before being crushed. Bee carcasses rained down on the ground. The slime observed carefully and realized the opponent's tactic. So that's it. After absorbing the flames, its body turns red. And it also knows that after killing the hive, it can wipe out the whole colony. Seems like it's got a high IQ. Oh, look at all those materials scattered around. Time to harvest. Suddenly, a group of adventurers who had been tracking the magical energy arrived. One asked, full of suspicion. Following the magical reaction from the explosion, we found it. But is that really just a mid-tier monster? Near Rose immediately identified it as a Talo, causing the captain, Hector, to warn sternly, "Don't let your guard down. Look at its form, it's already at the Lord level." It was the humans from before. Were they planning to hunt this strange bird? The slime hid behind a boulder, stunned to see a familiar party of adventurers facing off against a monstrous chimera. Captain Hector immediately ordered, "Confi, use high-level ice magic to kill it. I'll buy you time to chant." Confi gripped his staff, replying confidently, "Leave it to me, Captain. I guarantee I can finish it off in one strike." Suddenly, the monster lashed out with sharp, cold claws. The struggle became incredibly intense. Hector was shocked to realize the opponent's power had skyrocketed. This guy is strong. It must have evolved after devouring a massive amount of food once the high-level demon beast disappeared. To break the stalemate, Hector used his counter-shield skill to deflect the monster's attack. The beast was pushed back, but instantly, its snake head lunged from behind with a mouth full of venom, intending to swallow the captain whole. Luckily, Near Rose promptly commanded her mount to ram straight into the monster's massive body, causing it to shake violently. Hector narrowly escaped, sweating profusely from the sheer terror. The chimera wildly swung its snake tail, preparing for another devastating attack. Its body glowed, and it suddenly unleashed a terrifying blast of fire. It was high-level magic dragon's breath. The intense heat of the fake dragon's breath seemed to set the entire night sky ablaze. Witnessing the incoming wall of fire, Confi screamed in panic. "Oh no, high-level magic." In this desperate situation, Confi slammed his staff onto the ground. "I have no choice but to defend." A magic circle appeared, and he activated high-level magic. Ice wall. A giant wall of ice rose up, blocking the roaring serpent of fire. Hiding behind a nearby rock, the slime trembled, sweat pouring down as it witnessed the destructive power. Good heavens. With magic battles at this level, even if I grew to my full size, I'd just be a target. The firepower was too intense, causing the ice to melt and crumble into pieces under the extreme pressure. She gritted her teeth in pain but finally ran out of strength. Confi realized bitterly, "Damn it, my chanting is drained. I can't use high-level magic for a while." The slime watched the scene, filled with longing. "I wish I knew how to cast spells like that. I'd be unstoppable." Not wanting to miss the chance, Hector commanded, "Near Rose, use your armored beast to cover me." And Near Rose immediately replied, "Understood." The armored boar instantly unleashed its needle shot skill, firing a barrage of sharp spines like a rain of arrows, piercing deep into the monster's body. Right after that, Hector roared, releasing 100% of his power, and launched himself into the air. The chimera could only let out a confused ugh as the needles buried into its hide. Hector put all his strength into the leap, swinging his weapon and shouting, "Meteor strike." A crushing blow landed straight onto the monster's head, creating a terrifying shockwave that cracked the earth. Watching the beast's bird head flattened by the power of his hammer, Hector exhaled in relief and declared, "It's settled." Confi, standing from a distance, couldn't help but admire the leader's skill. The strength of this chimera was already on par with a high-level demon beast. Truly, Captain Hector is reliable. Hiding behind a nearby rock, the slime observed closely, secretly admiring the human combat tactics. Plus, their team coordination 1+1 is definitely greater than 2. They can defeat the strong with the weak. The opportunity is here. I must hurry and become their pet. Hector turned to Near Rose and ordered, "Near Rose, Try reading the corpse's memories to see if we can find any clues about the guildmaster. But tragedy struck when the chimera's snake head suddenly lunged, sinking its fangs into Hector's shoulder, making him scream in pain. At the same time, the bird head that seemed dead miraculously began to regain consciousness. She reacted instantly, casting an ice spear to pierce the snake's neck to save him, while shouting a warning. The chimera's snakehead has petrification venom. Give the captain a purification potion. Neros frantically tossed the potion toward Hector. Here, Captain, take this. Hector's hands trembled as he poured the potion into his mouth, but the attempt to save him was too late. He realized with horror that his throat was turning to stone. The venom spread like wildfire, turning his skin and muscles into gray stone. In an instant, the brave captain became an immobile stone statue in the middle of the deep forest. Rose collapsed, crying in despair. Captain, Confai realized the situation was out of control. He gritted his teeth and pulled Rose up. There was no more time for grief. Rose, run. Seeing her hesitate, he snapped. It's absorbing the captain's life energy. It will recover completely very soon. Let's retreat while we still can. The chimera let out a menacing sound. Its glowing red eyes coldly tracked the two figures running for their lives. Confai hurriedly drank a mana potion to recover, then fled through the forest with Rose. He realized he had completely misjudged the chimera's strength, as it was actually a high-level demon lord class. Confai reassured Rose that as long as they made it out within a week and asked the church to send a royal priest, Captain Hector still had a chance to be saved. However, the monster recovered at an unimaginable speed, forcing Confai to immediately take over command to find a way to survive. The giant chimera roared with killing intent, radiating pressure that weighed heavily on the two small humans. In a panic, Rose asked Confai with teary eyes what to do next as hope faded. Confai made a firm decision, telling her to save her mana so they could escape this hellhole later. Leave everything else to me. He gripped his staff and unleashed a mid-level spell called Ice Gatling. A barrage of sharp ice crystals flew out like a hail of bullets, embedding into the monster's red scales, causing it to roar in pain. The ice shards poured down like a storm, but the chimera didn't flinch. It began gathering massive heat into its glowing bird head. Realizing the opponent was about to unleash a dangerous high-level fire spell, Confai shouted for Rose to forget everything and keep running as far as she could. Rose looked back in shock, not understanding what her teammate intended to do in such a dire situation. She gritted her teeth, thinking, if no one stays behind to hold the monster back, neither of us will make it out alive. He turned back and smiled at Rose, thanking her for the potion, then poured all his remaining mana into a final strike. He activated the high-level spell, Ice Barrier, creating a great wall of ice that completely separated him from Rose to block the exploding flames. Rose desperately called out Confai's name, but she could only see his shadow. He fades away behind the icy, frozen layer as he is gradually engulfed by enemy fire. She chokes back her tears, swallowing the pain, and urges Little Bristle to dash away as fast as possible so as not to waste their comrade's sacrifice. Rose makes a firm resolution that, at any cost, she must escape this place to deliver the intelligence about the bizarre forest back to the church. Rose urges Little Bristle to sprint through the night, her voice constantly calling out, Mi Ming, Mi Ming. Seeing the familiar silhouette of the owl high above, she lets out a sigh of relief. Little Mi Ming, the magical link was broken earlier, and I thought you were done for. With your vision, finding a way out will be much, but before she can finish, Rose freezes in shock. Upon landing on the branch, Little Mi Ming is no longer the gentle spirit beast it once was. It suddenly activates its holy fall state, its entire body radiating a deep blue magical aura. It looks utterly bizarre, with its eyes transforming into terrifying cross symbols. Rose trembles as she speaks, watching as a teleportation magic circle becomes clearly visible within Little Mi Ming's pupils. At the same time, in a strange, sealed dimension, filled with the corpses of magical beasts and shattered weapons, a man in white armor sits in deep contemplation. That is Ghost, the leader of the Beishi Guild, who has been missing for so long. Before him, the system interface blinks continuously with a harsh red warning about his state of exhaustion, demanding he repay the mana he had borrowed for so long. Ghost sighs wearily. I know. Instantly, the pile of magical beast corpses around him begins to tremble, violently, converging into a giant mass of flesh. The evil entity gradually reveals itself. It is Kroto Jirawa, the king of the swamp forest, with countless heads and glowing red eyes. Kroto Jirawa mocks Ghost for his habit of talking to something called a system. It reveals that they already knew about the secrets of those who transmigrated from other universes and had lured him here to eliminate him. But it never expected Ghost to be so terrifyingly powerful. The monster offers one final proposal, wanting Ghost to join them instead of becoming a dried-up corpse. After a second of silence, Ghost grips his giant mace and coldly replies, "Let me think about it." Thinking is over. He swings his weapon, unleashing a thunderous blow that sends the swarm of magical beasts flying, but Kroto-Jarawa only laughs arrogantly, declaring that within this eternal barrier, it is immortal and indestructible. The flesh of Kroto-Jarawa begins to gather back into a massive, menacing block. From within the pitch-black smoke, the monster speaks mockingly, "Ghost, no matter how strong you are, you're still just a mortal. Your heavy breathing betrays that you're about to reach your limit. If you won't cooperate, then just die." Facing imminent death, Ghost remains astonishingly calm. He quickly accesses his inventory space and retrieves an exquisitely crafted golden container. Without a moment's hesitation, he throws the treasure at his enemy. The bottle shatters, releasing a wave of golden liquid called true holy water. The monster, confused and unaware of what is happening, is suddenly consumed by a blinding explosion of light. Golden sparks rain down from above like a storm, causing Kroto-Jarawa to shriek in extreme agony. Ghost watches coldly as his enemy is burned away, explaining that true holy water can burn even the soul, rendering any physical immortality meaningless. Even so, he still feels regret, as he had intended to use this weapon for the true mastermind behind everything. Kroto-Jarawa curses frantically in its death throes. "You bastard Ghost! You piece of trash! Even the angels have fallen. Where did you get this holy water?" The monster screams incessantly, while its entire giant body is gradually consumed by the sacred fire, but the system suddenly pours cold water on the situation. Warning, warning, high energy reaction detected, target is about to regenerate. Before Ghost can even steady himself, a heaven-shattering wave of energy erupts, blasting the monster's remains into the air. Ghost contemplates, deducing that since true holy water burns the soul, the target shouldn't be able to recover, unless there is a variable outside his calculations. Immediately, Kroto-Jarawa reveals its true form in its holy fall state, a glowing red sphere with a giant eye and a series of grotesque tentacles. It laughs arrogantly. "Ha ha ha, you almost killed me, really. Didn't expect that, did you, Ghost?" "Your final trick didn't work on me," Ghost asks, stunned. "You adapt that quickly? Are you using a mod or something?" Kroto-Jarawa smugly brings up the past, the moment Ghost used the Dragon Emperor's finger to slice off the Dragon Emperor's finger. Back then, it didn't understand why Ghost's spear technique was sharp enough to cut the Dragon Emperor, or why that finger had disappeared without a trace in the swamp forest. As it turns out, it was thanks to a weak magical beast that accidentally touched that finger, breaking the untouchable nature of the spell and allowing Kroto-Jarawa to locate it and retrieve the remains. It realized that Ghost had coated his weapon in true holy water, which is why he had to discard the finger far away to avoid being backlashed. Thanks to the time spent adapting to the residual holy water on the Dragon Emperor's finger, Kroto-Jarawa had achieved absolute adaptability. It screams wildly. "If you had used this amount earlier, I would have been completely obliterated." "Out of moves, darling? Time to meet your maker." A giant stone hand erupts from the ground, delivering a thunderous blow aimed directly at Ghost. The massive hand descends with the force of 1,000 weights. The impact creates a horrific explosion, leaving the scene in ruins with rocks and debris scattered everywhere. Ghost collapses in pain. His left arm is completely shattered and won't move. Kroto-Jarawa mocks his stubbornness. It assumes Ghost is suffering for nothing and questions if he is, fantasizing about an impossible comeback. Beneath his iron mask, Ghost quietly admits his mistake in not using the true holy water with full force from the start. High above, the Dragon Emperor's finger, the giant, powerful finger of the Dragon Emperor, begins to descend at a dizzying speed to finish off the exhausted hero. Kroto-Jarawa bids him a final farewell, asserting that even with a mystical system, Ghost cannot win, because he is forced to confront the power of the entire church, all on his own. Just as the finger of death is inches away, Ghost's eyes suddenly glow with determination. He quickly accesses the system interface and pulls out an ancient scroll, radiating a deep blue magical aura. That is the item known as the Demon King's Lover, an old parchment containing bizarre, bloodthirsty ancient characters. As soon as it is activated, the scroll erupts with brilliant white light and dense magical code, preparing for an all-out battle. Kroto-Jarawa is in extreme panic as it realizes the scroll in Ghost's hand is a demon contract. It shrieks in astonishment. "What? A demon summoning contract? Really? You hypocrite! You talk against our plans, But in reality, you've been in league with demons all along. In total despair, the monster could only beg the one behind him for help. Your Holiness, save me. Please save me. But in response to his plea, a massive hand, swirling with the colors of a cosmic nebula, descended from above. The ultimate skill, Grasp of Oblivion, was activated, crushing Kroto-Jirawa into sparkling dust in the blink of an eye. Amidst the gloomy void, a terrifying entity, a skeletal figure draped in a purple cloak, stepped out from the shadows. With long horns and glowing purple eyes, he looked at Ghost with a knowing gaze and greeted him. "Hello, old friend. It's been a long time. How have you been?" The demon lord laughed gleefully at Ghost's pathetic state, recalling the first time he failed to manifest Lam into this world. He offered a tempting deal as compensation. "I will lend you my power. With it, you'll be strong enough to wipe out that scum. What do you think, Otherworlder?" However, Ghost didn't hesitate. He tore the contract to shreds right in front of him and coldly declared, "We're even." Rejected so bluntly, the demon lord clicked his tongue in regret, but left behind a chilling prophecy. What a heartless guy. "Let me give you a piece of advice. I've already seen your death." A massive, swirling purple-black vortex appeared, dragging the demon lord back to where he belonged. As the dust settled under the faint crescent moon, the system continuously issued settlement notifications. The target had been completely erased, but no experience points were gained. At the same time, the seal at the scene was officially lifted. Ghost was completely exhausted by now, his mana depleted to 0 while his health continued to drop due to the side effects of borrowing that power. He collapsed to the ground, breathing heavily in excruciating pain. Did the summoning of the coordinate for help succeed? He tried to connect to the other guy's system to communicate, but the notification that popped up dashed all his hopes. Connection failed. Systems of Otherworlders are not linked. Meanwhile, the slime was trying to cover the body of Captain Hector to perform its decomposition skill, but the system kept reporting errors. Decomposition failed. Target is not organic matter. Witnessing the harsh reality, the slime could only exclaim in astonishment. He really turned into stone. This old guy must be the fanciest display piece in the whole forest. Helpless, it crawled out of the statue's mouth. Seeing Hector's discarded weapon lying there, the slime had an idea and whispered to itself, "Old man, if you don't need this anymore, I'll take this gear." It wrapped its gelatinous body around the mace, not forgetting to leave a greeting. "Thanks." Stealing things while acting polite, this slime is truly shameless. It quickly fled the scene, calculating in its heart, if it could help the humans when they were in trouble, perhaps it could hitch a ride back to the human town with them. Heading straight toward the giant ice wall that the mage Khan had created earlier, the slime muttered, "This is the ice wall that mage made. They must be around here somewhere." It sneaked behind, hoping for a favorable outcome. Maybe he already finished off that ostrich, and I can take this chance to scavenge some loot. The greedy slime's eyes lit up at the sight of treasure. However, being cautious by nature, it immediately activated its search skill to scout the situation. Safety first, better to observe a little. The moment its sensory threads touched the surface of the ice, the slime was shocked. It was terrified to see a horrific scene on the other side. The monster Za Lo was still alive. Za Lo's eyes suddenly flashed with a ghostly red light, making the slime tremble with fear. "What the heck is this? Another one fell? That bird keeps getting stronger. And that girl, don't tell me she's become a victim too." At the same time, elsewhere, the owl Miming dived like an arrow straight at Near Rose. Realizing her spirit beast was no longer the companion she once knew, Near Rose gritted her teeth and ordered, "Little Miming is no longer our ally. Attack now." The armored boar immediately activated its spine barrage skill, launching a volley of sharp spikes toward the sky to intercept the enemy's swoop. Miming's beak suddenly elongated, becoming as sharp as a steel blade. It began to spin its body at maximum speed, unleashing the Steel Claw Gale skill. A massive hurricane was created, sweeping everything around it into a death vortex. The wind speed was so intense that even great ancient trees were uprooted, causing Near Rose to completely lose her balance and be thrown away. Massive tree trunks were shredded, falling from above like a rain of wood, crushing everything beneath it. Near Rose could only huddle down, clutching her head in total helplessness amidst the debris. "Help! Can anyone save me? Little Miming. Why did everything turn out like this?" Watching her mount being crushed by the massive trees, she suppressed her grief, trying to channel her mana to heal it. "Little Bristle, hang in there." But the owl Miming had now completely lost its mind. It hovered in the air with a sinister glow before diving like a ghost straight at its former master. Facing the lethal swoop, Near Rose screamed in terror as she felt an energy force invading her mind. The consciousness manipulation skill was activated, pulling her into a spiritual space filled with stone pillars floating in the void. Near Rose breathed a sigh of relief when she realized the pet contract hadn't been completely severed. Thank goodness the contract is still there. I've successfully entered little Miming's mental world. In the distance, a beautiful angel with snow-white wings appeared, gently hugging the little owl, leaving Near Rose stunned. Wait, an angel hugging a pet? This world is getting way too surreal. The young girl stood frozen before this powerful presence, wondering why a noble angel would appear in the mind of a small spirit beast. The angel smiled mysteriously and gently called out, "Come here." But just as Near Rose was about to step forward, that beautiful face suddenly distorted, revealing a blood-red skeleton with a terrifying, defiant roar. "Come here." Near Rose was terrified to the core, only able to cover her head and scream desperately for help in vain. Help! What kind of angel changes faces faster than an X? Back in reality, the armored boar, Little Bristle, growled, intending to lunge forward to protect its master. The owl Miming dived crazily, its cross-shaped eyes blazing with murderous intent, aimed straight at Near Rose. In the nick of time, the slime suddenly appeared, swinging the iron mace and slamming it straight into the bird's face. The slime put all its strength into it, raining down blows with Captain Hector's iron mace onto the body of the owl Miming, which was being possessed by the divine corruption. Near Rose was dumbfounded, tears still lingering on her eyelashes as she recognized the familiar weapon. It was Captain Hector's weapon. Near Rose was stunned, tears still glistening on her lashes, as she recognized the familiar weapon. It was the very gear belonging to Captain Hector. Having reached level 49 with maxed-out pulse skills, the slime's ability to manipulate its cellular structure had become perfect, even more flexible and precise than a human hand. It smugly named this powerful move the Slime Meteor Mace. It thought to itself, if stones are bullets, this weapon is basically a cannon. With its new power, the slime swung the mace to shatter the giant tree trunks, pinning down the little bristle boar, rescuing it. Near Rose collapsed to her knees, choking back tears as she looked at the tiny creature. Thank you. To think something so small could take on a whole forest, that's incredible. She gently lifted the slime into her palm, her eyes filled with deep thought and emotion. I feel something so familiar coming from you. I think I've figured it out. The slime waited, full of anticipation for a sophisticated remark, but Near Rose suddenly burst into wailing tears. Wah! You must be Captain Hector, right? You possessed this little monster just to come and save me, didn't you? I'm just a slime, okay? The slime was stunned, screaming internally. Not even close. The little bristle boar also snorted, clearly skeptical of its master's deduction. Amidst the chaos, a terrifying shadow rose from the debris. The Miming owl, despite being heavily wounded and covered in festering magical sores, had not fallen yet. It hissed with hateful cries. Mew Migu, Mew! Near Rose immediately steeled herself, ready for the final battle. Little bristle boar, I'll transfer my magic to you first. Can you still fight? The boar growled with determination, answering its master. Meanwhile, the slime quickly spread its body across the ground like a web, activating its wide-range search skill. With its pulse skill at the max level, it quickly pinpointed the enemy's weak spot. Found your opening. Time to go, Miming. Instantly, the slime lunged from the ground, unleashing a piercing strike, stabbing deep into the owl's body and rendering it completely immobile. As the Miming owl shrieked in pain, not giving it a chance to counter, the slime swiftly maneuvered the iron mace to knock the monster into the air. Realizing the moment had arrived, it shouted, "Perfect timing," putting everything into the finishing move. The ultimate protoplasm cannon skill was activated. The iron mace, carrying a force of 1,000 pounds, pierced through the Miming owl's body and pinned it firmly to the ancient tree. Looking at the devastation, the slime retracted its long, stringy body and sheepishly muttered to itself, "Oops, might have overdone it with that one." Near Rose silently stared at her spirit beast, which was now completely motionless. She turned to the slime and gasped in realization. I remember now. You're the little monster I met by the campfire a few hours ago. And that figure I saw through the Miming owl's eyes before that was you too. Near Rose sank down, looking at the golden, jiggly blob with grateful eyes. You've been following me this whole time. Do you have feelings for me? If so, our compatibility must be off the charts. She gently cradled the slime in her palm, feeling a fated connection drawing near. Kneeling in the middle of a glowing magic circle under the moonlight, Near Rose earnestly proposed, "Would you like to form a pet contract with me?" She smiled, gently promising, "I'll make sure you're well fed and rested. No need to worry about starving." But just as the slime was about to agree, a bright red system notification suddenly popped up, killing the mood. Warning. Warning. Once a servant contract with a human is signed, All rights to use this system will be permanently lost. The slime was horrified, trapped in a dilemma, between the freedom of the system and a beautiful mistress. What? The system or my master? I can only choose one? Facing near Rose's tempting offer, the slime stared at the rounded soul of its future mistress, and thought, the system is great, but how could it ever compare to the hot beauties in classic young adult novels? Immediately, a glorious vision appeared in its mind. They would train together under the sunset and battle side by side in grand arenas. The slime imagined itself as a muscular warrior with overpowered skills like protoplasm cannon or phagocytic bullets, becoming the strongest rookie and an idol to all adventurers. The pinnacle would be the fusion move, with Near Rose donning shimmering golden armor, standing among a forest of microphones as they gave press interviews about their success. Not stopping there, the slime even dreamed of evolving into a handsome, long-haired blonde heartthrob with a powerful third eye on its forehead. It would fight alongside Near Rose, defeat the Demon King, and end with the wedding of the century at a majestic cathedral. Under the gaze of thousands, it smirked, thinking, those old-school system tropes are so outdated. If I have to choose, obviously I'm picking a beautiful mistress. I've already scripted the next 100 episodes of this story. Heh. Returning to reality, it looked at the beautiful girl waiting for an answer. The slime made up its mind. All right, let's do this. But just as it was deep in thought, something struck Near Rose in the head. The situation escalated so fast that the slime was caught off guard. The culprit behind the sneak attack was the monster bird. It was unbelievable that it could still be alive after losing its head. The memeing monster was writhing and undergoing a disgusting transformation, with excess flesh and a swarm of glowing red eyes sprouting all over its body. Not letting the enemy complete its evolution, the little bristle boar let out a furious roar and charged with all its might like an arrow, aiming straight for the evil entity. The slime was horrified by the gruesome sight. Was the head it just smashed growing back? Seeing the little bristle boar charging in a bloodthirsty rage, it frantically tried to stop it. Don't get reckless, buddy. But it was too late. Near Rose's mount had lost control and lunged straight toward the grotesque entity. Immediately, the memeing monster extended a thin, bony finger, activating an abyssal magic called Degeneration Beam. A multicolored light enveloped the little bristle boar, leaving it confused as to what was happening. In a split second, the mighty armored boar was reverted into a tiny, weak piglet. It ran away in terror, leaving Near Rose stranded at the scene. The slime was stunned by such terrifying power. Degeneration? That owl can actually use that kind of magic? No, it's not the owl. From within the carcass of the Miming, a new entity emerged, sporting long, flowing blue hair and an arrogant expression. It was Merlin, the guildmaster of the Blue Hat Guild, and one of the church's 7 great holy knights. She coldly sneered, "How annoying. I spent so many resources and you still couldn't handle this small matter, that Kroto-Jerwa is truly useless." Merlin began grumbling about having to clean up the mess left by the old man from the Holy See. Sensing that the containment barrier had vanished, Merlin let out a menacing roar. "I won't let you get away this time, ghost." Instantly, she unleashed abyss magic, and a gale-like gate manifested, forming massive wings of light on her back. Amidst the ruins, Near Rose lay fallen in a pool of blood, her body devoid of life. The slime hid in the distance, watching in shock as the enemy's silhouette vanished into the sky. She actually flew away. Was that someone else using magic to shift their consciousness into an owl's body? A wave of helplessness washed over the slime. It painfully realized that it had been completely ignored, simply because it was too weak. It looked sorrowfully at the corpse of Near Rose, the one it had just intended to form a contract with. She killed her own master. No, the contract wasn't even formed yet. Should I be happy that I managed to survive? A fleeting moment of cowardice left the slime feeling humiliated. It sobbed. Of course not. My friend was murdered, and all I could think about was saving my own skin. Am I even a man? This time, I have to take revenge. The slime declared that even if it couldn't kill the enemy, it would at least smack a glob of protoplasm right into the villain's face before darting into the woods. Under the silent, murky night of the swamp forest, Ghost System sent continuous notifications confirming the completion of the magic power debt repayment. Even so, his condition was absolutely pathetic, with his health pool at only 789 points, and his left arm severely damaged. Ignoring the danger alerts, Ghost gritted his teeth, ordered the system to stop blabbering, and demanded it continue scanning for the coordinates of the new transmigrator. The system replied that remote contact was impossible without an initial connection, but it could sense a signal with a matching frequency very nearby. Ghost knew the Holy Church would soon send others to clean up, so he had to find the new transmigrator at all costs and get out of there immediately. If I stay here any longer, I'll be dead before I know it. Meanwhile, the slime was seething with a desire for vengeance. It frantically activated its search skill to hunt down the enemy. As soon as the radar picked up a silhouette in the bushes, it triumphantly shouted, "Found you! That long neck, the great slime has recognized you." Seeing the red plume on Ghost's helmet, the slime mistook it for the neck of the owl monster. Without a moment's hesitation, it swung the iron mace of the Hector and screamed, "Eat this!" A crushing strike landed squarely on Ghost's head, shaking the ground. The unexpected hit made the slime pause, feeling that something wasn't quite right. Wait, the armor looks a bit off. Did I hit the wrong person? As Ghost reeled from the surprise attack, the slime realized its fatal mistake. Oh, that's not a neck? That's just a plume on the helmet? It awkwardly approached to apologize. Sorry, it's so dark in the forest, I couldn't see clearly. I hit the wrong person. And honestly, what's with you wearing such a flashy helmet? Are you still alive? Suddenly, an iron hand shot up from the ground, gripping the slime's jelly-like body with immense force. The eyes behind Ghost's mask glowed with a fierce crimson killing intent. He roared in fury. Hector's weapon and the scent of Near Rose's blood on you. You killed my comrade, you dog of the church. I will crush you. Seeing they were completely misunderstanding each other, the slime, being strangled, could only manage choked, garbled sounds. Just then, a series of system windows popped up between them with a chime. Connection successful. Ghost froze in shock. Looking at the system interface, he asked, "Are you a transmigrator too?" The slime was just as stunned by the realization. He has a system too? Am I not the only transmigrator in this world? Ghost began to explain everything. It turns out, in order to fight the evil church, I activated the Forest Hope coordinates and summoned the slime to this world. The slime realized, so it wasn't me? It was you who brought me to this world? Everyone I met before was a member of your guild, but with my current strength, I couldn't even save that girl named Near. So, what can I do to help you? Ghost reassured it. Don't rush. When I first transmigrated here, I was just like you, completely clueless. After awakening the system, I followed the instructions step by step to complete missions, and only then did I gradually become stronger. The slime was still feeling self-conscious. But at least you're human, and you have the mana to learn magic. I'm just a single-celled organism. Surviving until now hasn't been easy at all. I feel so pathetic. Ghost lowered his voice to reveal a shocking secret. To be honest, I am not actually human either. That is the real reason why I always wear armor, the slime asked, puzzled. Huh? Then what are you? Ghost replied coldly. In this world, the creatures most despised and hated by humans are goblins. Hearing this, the slime immediately pictured the green-skinned, greedy, and ugly creatures. You mean those green, humanoid creatures that only think with their lower halves, are greedy, irritable, aggressive, live underground, are good at mining and construction, yet are short and weak. Then you really aren't any better. What's so cute about you anyway? But the moment Ghost removed his iron mask, the slime was left completely speechless. Appearing before, it wasn't an ugly monster, but a young man with elegant silver hair and long, enchanting ears. Ghost sighed. You're right. This appearance actually causes a lot of trouble for my operations in the human world. The slime shrieked in envy. So cool. Isn't that just incredibly unfair? Ghost replied calmly. Cool? I don't feel that way at all. Besides, if humans find out, I'll definitely be chased away. On the contrary, your small body is much more convenient for moving around in towns. The slime still protested. I object. I object. Why is there such a difference in design? If it's all the work of the creator, would it have killed him to make one more handsome guy? Ghost quickly put his armor back on and stood up. The guild I founded aims to break down barriers and promote greater harmony in this world. However, to this day, no one knows my true identity. Forget it. Now is not the time to discuss the past. The church has sent Merlin, the most brutal of the 7 holy knights, here. We need to hurry, the slime asked, confused. Hurry for what? Ghost declared firmly. I am going to synchronize all the magic and combat skills I've learned to you. Immediately, the system window displayed a notification. Connecting system. Please wait. Connection successful. Starting data transfer 1%. The slime was beyond excited. He can actually do this? Doesn't that mean I'm going to reach the peak in one go? This is even better than hitting the jackpot. The slime was beyond thrilled. Can it really do this? Doesn't that mean I'm about to hit the jackpot? This is way better than winning the lottery. Ghost shared his power while bitterly reflecting on the past. At first, I thought that even though the Pope was suspicious, his past actions had truly benefited the common people. So, I went with the flow and accepted the mission, thinking I could get closer to the truth. I didn't know I had walked into a deadly trap he had prepared for me. This battle has burned through everything I have. But the trump cards the church had accumulated were also torn apart by me. The road ahead will only be more dangerous. I need you to fight alongside me. The slime wondered. What exactly did they do to make you hate them so much? It's not that boring world domination trope again, is it? Ghost replied coldly. No. This world is already under the church's rule. What the church wants now is to sacrifice every living thing in this world as energy to open a pathway and send those profiteers to a higher universe. The slime was horrified by the Ascension Church's insane plan. Are villains these days playing for such high stakes? How on earth do they plan to sacrifice all life? Ghost reminisced about his dark past when he was first reincarnated into this world in the form of a lowly, weak goblin child. In the dark, abandoned mines, he had to catch bugs, scavenge for leftovers, and even gnaw on human corpses just to avoid starving to death. Until he was 5, the system awakened, helping Ghost put an end to all the crimes in that filthy mine with his own hands. Even though his hands were stained with the blood of his own kind, he insisted, "My soul remains human." After taking control of the mines, Ghost rescued the heroines who were imprisoned as breeding machines and tortured until they suffered mental breakdowns. To help them start new lives and heal their deep psychological wounds, he used a special racial skill called dual cultivation. The slime nodded in sympathy upon hearing this, but then it paused, full of doubt. Hey, wait a minute. You said my racial skill is decomposition, so the dual cultivation you mentioned, that's not it, is it? Ghost nonchalantly admitted his envy for the slime's convenient skill, because dual cultivation consumed too much time and stamina. However, in return, whenever he performed it with female adventurers of different classes, he would receive a boost to a corresponding attribute, like health, mana, or elemental compatibility, along with a massive amount of experience points. Watching Ghost build his power foundation surrounded by beautiful women, the slime shouted in frustration. Why do I feel like you're showing off to me? But Ghost's smile faded when he mentioned taking his family to the royal capital, the greatest mistake of his life that led his wife and child to a tragic end. Just as the skill transfer reached 12%, an entity with wings of light appeared from above and coldly declared, "Found you." Ghost was startled and widened his eyes. Immediately, Merlin activated an abyssal magic called Wind-Piercing Dagger. A massive pillar of gale force wind with destructive power descended from the sky, crushing the ancient forest and creating a deep crater, shaking the very space around them. Merlin stood amidst the debris, looked at Ghost coldly, and uttered a taunt. So your true form is a goblin. But can a goblin really have such high talent? I really want to take you back to dissect and study you thoroughly. Too bad. The old pope ordered me to kill you completely. Seeing Ghost still struggling to breathe, she asked curiously, "Oh, still alive? By the way, Ghost, how did you kill Kroto-Jirawa, who possessed an immortal body and adaptive energy?" At this moment, Ghost's system sent continuous alerts. Symbiotic armor currently at 0% durability, it is damaged. Repair immediately. Warning. Combat situation unfavorable. Recommend retreat. Ghost struggled to stand amidst the ruins and snapped back. I know. Shut up, Merlin smiled sinisterly. Are you talking to that system we can't see? Tell me, if I steal your body, could I inherit that system as well? Heh, I really want to study it so badly. Ghost shouted in rage. Kroto-Jirawa's immortal chimera body is just the result of the research you conducted after harming countless lives, isn't it, Merlin? You are a soulless devil, a hunting dog of the church. Merlin laughed with contempt. Heh, you talk to me about humanity? Do you even understand the definition of life? In the eyes of a higher dimensional world, neither you nor I are worth mentioning. Facing the slime's attack, she didn't even need to look to catch all the hidden weapons with a wave of her hand. Hiding behind a log, the slime trembled while watching Merlin nonchalantly hold the stones in her hand and look toward it with disdain. How pitiful. Ghost, is this low-level monster the only thing you could pull out? Immediately, Merlin activated a staring skill, leaving the slime completely paralyzed. It panicked and thought to itself, my body can't move. It's such a strange feeling, like being stripped naked and seen through completely. Seeing Merlin slightly distracted, this was the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Merlin sighed upon realizing she had been trapped. Distracted, huh? Tricked, are you? Even so, where could you possibly run to? Suddenly, Ghost appeared right behind her and coldly declared, Run? I never thought about that. He poured all his strength into activating his martial arts, multiple piercing points. Being attacked by surprise, Merlin immediately cast her abyssal magic, Abyssal Flame Cube, creating a massive block of hellfire that engulfed them both. The slime watched the raging flames anxiously. Hey, this isn't over yet, right? Inside the hellfire, Merlin smiled triumphantly. Martial arts are indeed my weakness, but I won't give you the chance to get close. However, Ghost proved her wrong when he punched through the flames. Multiple piercing points also work on magic, you know. Ghost's powerful punch tore through her defensive fire layer, catching Merlin off guard. He lunged forward, tackled her to the ground, and roared, "Gotcha!" Amidst the sea of fire burning in the sky, Ghost gripped his enemy tightly, his eyes shining with determination. "Even if I die today, I will drag you down to the grave with me." Ghost's health bar hit rock bottom, with only a single point left. Immediately, the system activated Final Resistance, allowing him to maintain his life for 1 minute, regardless of any damage received. Without a moment's hesitation, Ghost decided to activate his ultimate skill, End of Purity. Witnessing that sight, Merlin screamed in horror and despair. "End of Purity? Ghost, you bastard! Let me go right now! Do you even know the price of this magic?" The system continuously issued danger warnings. This skill will override the immortality status, reducing the host's health to 0 and causing both body and soul to vanish completely. This time, he was playing a desperate game of life and death with that devil. Despite the threat of eternal death, Ghost roared, "It doesn't matter anymore." A deep blue magic circle erupted, locking both him and Merlin in the epicenter of destruction. Merlin screamed in agony as she felt her energy being ruthlessly drained away. In his final moments, Ghost sent a heartfelt message to the slime through the system interface. "I'm sorry about this. We just met, and now I have to say goodbye. But there's no other way. This is my last resort. If we don't destroy Merlin, none of us will survive. I leave the mission of saving this world to you. Remember this well. Never trust the church." The slime sobbed, drowning in a puddle of its own tears, crying out in helplessness. "No way, brother. Don't die. I was still waiting for you to carry me. If someone as strong as you couldn't beat them, then you expect this lump of slime to save the world now?" Ghost smiled serenely, leaving behind his final encouragement before vanishing. "Believe in yourself. Perhaps the only meaning of my summoning to this world was simply to be the medium to bring you here." When the dust settled, only a massive crater and a scene of devastation remained in the forest. The slime lay alone among the wreckage. Drops of slime fell like rain as it choked out the name of the friend who had just sacrificed himself. Brother Ghost. Suddenly, from the night sky, Merlin, in the form of a wounded chimera, was trying to fly away. She cursed madly. "Damn that ghost, bastard!" The mission was a complete failure. The 5 candles of life, used to connect with the chaotic universe in preparation for ascension, have all been snuffed out in an instant. Merlin realized in despair that she could only survive by inhabiting the corpse of this low-level monster. Not letting her escape, the slime immediately spat a glob of slime at Merlin and coldly declared, Quit your yapping. This humble slime will inherit Ghost's will. And along with the grudge of that girl from before, I'm going to settle the score with you right now. Old grudges and new ones, I'm taking care of it all at once." The shot was so powerful that the slime's own health dropped by 50 points instantly. Leaving a clone behind as an escape route, the slime secretly calculated that if things went south, it would shift its consciousness to that body to flee. Merlin, in her bird-like form, was covered in golden slime. She roared in fury. "What the hell is this? A contract monster left behind by Ghost?" Her rage erupted. Merlin screamed, "Then take the wrath of Merlin on behalf of that bastard, Ghost!" Immediately, she activated an abyss magic spell called Degenerative Ray. A multicolored beam engulfed the slime, but it just stood there blankly, not feeling any change in its body. Keep running your mouth. Let's see what else you've got for the world to see." Merlin was shocked to the core. Damn it, why isn't it working? She wondered if it was because her soul was so severely wounded that her magic power had diminished. The more she thought, the more frustrated she became. Merlin roared, "Unforgivable. I am Merlin, the strongest mage of the kingdom. I don't believe I can't handle a pathetic monster like you." The slime calmly activated its search skill, silently analyzing the situation. That woman named Merlin had already been beaten half to death by Ghost. She didn't know about the slime's trump card, so it would use this information gap to ambush her. But at that moment, the bird monster suddenly appeared, swatting Merlin into a cliff, causing her grave injuries. In intense pain, Merlin still tried to hiss out curses, threatening that once she returned to the Holy See to recover, she would raise this swamp forest to ashes. Responding to the threat, the monster didn't hesitate to gather scorching flames in its throat. In the blink of an eye, a high-level magic dragon's breath surged forth, turning Merlin into ashes instantly before swallowing her whole. The monster's neck pulsed repeatedly, as if it were swallowing a massive source of energy. The snake head on its back also began to glow, emitting a blinding white magic power that covered its entire massive body. The slime gasped in shock. That guy, is he evolving? The light faded, revealing an entity far more grand and terrifying. From its initial wyvern form, it had officially evolved into a feathered dragon, with brilliant wings and overwhelming power. The giant dragon flapped its wings, emitting a dazzling aura, then soared into the sky, quickly vanishing into the deep night. The slime stood alone among the wreckage, sweat dripping from the terror of what it had just witnessed. He's really hard to kill, isn't he? The skill transfer process stalled at 37% and was suddenly interrupted. A series of failure notifications appeared because the slime lacked the magic power or physical requirements to accept high-level skills like super magic or holy arts. However, it did manage to acquire the talent for martial arts. Looking at the remains of Ghost, the slime choked out, "Brother Ghost." The system continued to load knowledge of blacksmithing, medicine, cooking, and world maps. Despite possessing this vast amount of knowledge, the slime didn't feel happy. It just wished it were still a carefree slime like before. Who wouldn't want to go back to a carefree childhood to live happily? To begin its new journey, it immediately activated its scouting skill. Slimy threads spread across the ground, searching for and collecting every broken piece of the hero's armor who had just fallen. The slime began to weave inside, using its fluid to connect the parts, from the greaves to the chest plate. It resolved that it must not collapse but rather become stronger to inherit Brother Ghost's legacy. If not, this whole world would be sacrificed by the church. Under the slime's control, the cold iron armor began to tremble and slowly stood up amidst the ruins. The helmet was finally secured firmly on top. The slime madly funneled its cellular fluid to fill the gaps inside the steel shell, creating the shape of artificial hands and feet. It told itself that even though it didn't have a real body, this way, it could control the armor like a true warrior. A new entity with a human shape, but containing a golden slime core, had officially taken form. But the reality was extremely harsh, as keeping its balance was a huge challenge. The moment it took a step, the armor wobbled, making the slime panic. "Hey, stand still!" Clattering sounds rang out repeatedly, and pieces of armor began to fall off, because it couldn't distract itself by controlling the top and bottom of the body at the same time. Finally, the armor collapsed to the ground miserably. Without bones as a pillar, it was moving on pure faith. The slime crawled out, exhausted, deciding to temporarily collect this pile of gear to find a place to hide, in case the church's people returned soon to hunt it down. The slime quickly retrieved Ghost's broken armor pieces into its storage space. The system immediately confirmed this was armor forged from force-locking stone. Capable of absorbing most physical damage, it was a masterpiece crafted by Ghost himself. After cleaning up the scene, the slime darted off, cutting through the night breeze, seeking refuge in a quiet, ancient tree hollow. Standing before the massive amount of information just received from Ghost, it muttered to itself, "So much has happened in one night. The information overload is real. Let me sort through all this properly." And so, the world map data loading process began. As soon as the data hit 100%, a vast world unfolded before the slime, featuring landmarks like Deep Valley Mountains, Arctic ice fields, abandoned mines, and the royal capital. It realized its current location was a swamp forest. Through Ghost's memories, the slime learned that society had deployed teleportation gates at fixed points, allowing travel between the capital and other regions. However, these gates were under the strict control of the church. Adventurers who wanted to use them had to register and pay half of their harvested resources as a tax. A bold plan crossed the slime's mind. If I can find a teleportation gate, couldn't I just go straight to the royal capital? It certainly dared to dream, but pulling it off was another story. Looking at its inventory, the slime realized the path ahead was clear, but it needed to become much stronger before heading to the capital. For now, its only trump cards were the high-tier equipment that had been damaged, and the body of the girl named Near Rose, lying motionless in its storage space. Standing before the corpse of its newfound friend, the slime hesitated, contemplating whether to decompose her. It knew that even if it kept her, Near Rose could never come back to life. Instead of letting her rot in solitude, it decided to absorb her body to inherit her strength and will. The decomposition process began, and golden slime enveloped Near Rose in a gentle light. In a haze, the slime saw a vision of Near Rose, smiling gently, waving her hand for a final goodbye. "Goodbye, little slime. It burst into tears, choking back sobs as it replied, "Goodbye." With a will burning with resentment, the slime vowed to itself, "From now on, even if I'm just a blob of slime, I will single-handedly end that evil church." The notification that the decomposition was complete rang out. The slime had officially reached level 50 and received the level 1 domination skill. Specifically, the fusion of its own traits and the new skill, along with the central command, evolved into an overpowered skill. Level 1. Parasitic Domination. The morning sun just began to peek over the skill, mountaintops, dispelling the dark night of the swamp forest. Amidst the still water, a swamp frog sat casually on a lotus leaf, croaking. Instantly, a series of slime-coated pebbles fired through the air, hitting the creature's body, causing the poor frog to let out one bewildered croak before collapsing. After the heavy impact, the system announced the target was defeated, and the slime gained experience points. Looking at the frog's body lying motionless on the grass, the slime whispered, "Sorry, little frog, I'll use you to test my new skill." It suddenly realized that after synchronizing the encyclopedia from Ghost's system, the skill descriptions had become much more detailed. The level 1 parasitic domination skill allowed the slime to infiltrate the target's body, covering the biological nervous system to replace the original consciousness, turning it into a puppet that shares its senses. The slime muttered, "Well, this skill is pretty straightforward. First, use the slime to infiltrate the corpse." It exerted force, spraying a mass of golden liquid deep into the frog's mouth, accepting a loss of 30 health points to start the process. Immediately, the skill activation notification appeared. Slimy, vein-like threads began to spread like a spider web, weaving through and covering every muscle fiber inside the frog. Suddenly, the monster's leg twitched. It staggered to its feet, leaving the slime stunned. It came back to life? It's actually alive? The system confirmed the parasitism was successful, and the slime now possessed its first swamp frog puppet. It realized that upon successful parasitism, the body would move automatically by instinct. The slime continued to analyze. Next is domination, focusing my mind and shifting my consciousness into the slime inside that body. Right? It began to focus all its energy on the final step to fully take control of this new vessel. As soon as the transfer was complete, the slime was astonished to find its consciousness truly inside the body. The system immediately displayed the information panel for the corpse puppet, Swamp Frog, with 0% durability since the target was already dead, accompanied by a new skill set including Charge Strike, Tongue Punch, and Jump Bite. The slime excitedly observed the world with a magically expanded view through the frog's eyes, continuously marveling at this miracle. Thanks to infiltrating the entire nervous system, the slime even inherited the host's muscle memory, making the control as natural as its own body without needing time to adapt. However, it soon realized a deadly weakness. While controlling the puppet, its main body would fall into a state of total immobility, becoming dangerous given the surrounding threats. The slime told itself to find a safe hiding spot before entering battle, but the excitement of piloting a new body made it momentarily forget its worries to start its first hunt. Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. This is so fun, so cool. The slime excitedly tested the tongue punch move, shooting its long tongue like a fist to crush a fat worm. It constantly hopped around, enjoying a level of agility it had never known, and kept searching for its next target. Spotting a snail crawling ahead, the slime excitedly shouted, "Little snail, don't run!" But as it was distracted chasing its prey, beeping warning sounds suddenly rang out from the consciousness link. The system repeatedly notified it that the signal was weak, then cut the connection completely, causing the frog puppet to immediately collapse to the ground in a pathetic heap. The slime was shocked to realize the maximum control range was only about 30 meters, and it absolutely could not let its main body wander too far from the puppet. The frog puppet began jumping around continuously, emitting ribbit sounds that took the slime completely by surprise. Seeing the animal act as if it had come back to life, it suddenly had an idea and triumphantly exclaimed, "I get it now. This skill has two operation modes: active domination to control it yourself, and an automatic mode. The main body acts like a signal tower. If I go too far, the connection cuts due to a weak signal, and when I'm close, the puppet automatically activates its instinctive behaviors from when it was alive." However, the reality was quite harsh, as the frog in automatic mode proved to be incredibly stupid, constantly missing its tongue shots miserably. The slime looked disappointedly at the useless puppet that could only croak ribbit, then decided to leave. Recall it first. Instantly, the frog transformed into an item card named Swamp Frog Parasitic Puppet X1 in the storage space. A bold plan crossed his mind. The slime dreamed of defeating high-level magical beasts to turn them into his own vessels, He laughed sinisterly. If I can parasitize a high-level magical beast, I'll possess a powerful army to confront that evil church. Hey, now, let's go find the next suitable target. While wandering and searching by the stream, a jet of water suddenly struck, hitting him squarely, knocking the slime away and draining 70 HP. He angrily changed his shape and roared in fury. How bold! Who dares to ambush me? Show yourself. Recalling his old enemy, he muttered, those stinking water-spitting crabs again? Perfect. Ingredients coming right to my door. Saves me the trouble of hunting. However, what rose from the water wasn't a crab, but a pufferfish making a doo-loo sound. The slime was surprised. Huh? A pufferfish? Seeing that his opponent seemed to look down on him, he arrogantly declared. Very well. Does everyone think I'm easy prey? Let me show you the power of this level 50 low-level magical beast lord. The pufferfish began to puff up its body and continuously fired extremely powerful water guns. The slime nimbly dodged the attacks with artistic flair. Not giving his opponent a moment to react, he poured his power into the ejecting gel skill. Let me teach you what a real challenge and real manners is, the slime muttered furiously. Shooting and then running? It's not that simple. He instantly activated the net transformation skill. A giant, sticky, slimy net was launched, capturing the entire school of pufferfish that were about to dive back into the water. The slime clung tightly to a tree branch, pulled the entire net up high, and excitedly cheered. Wow, there's so many. The system continuously notified him that he had defeated the targets, and received a large amount of experience points. The parasitization process was complete, and the slime officially possessed an additional pufferfish parasitic puppet with 99% durability, along with skills like water gun, steel cutting teeth, and inflation. Not stopping there, he suddenly dove down from above like a bolt of lightning, using his gelatinous body to suddenly smother a crab that was busy eating. The slime quickly covered the crab's body and began to burrow inside the flesh. The crab frantically struggled, trying to shake off the intruder, but the slime had already quickly slipped through the gaps in the hard shell and taunted, "Want to get me off?" Sneaking in through these shell gaps, the parasite and domination skills were immediately activated. Golden light rays spread throughout the monster's body, causing it to be completely subjugated. The system notified that the slime had defeated the target and successfully acquired the swamp crab parasitic puppet with the skill set of muddy spit water gun and pinch 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 pinch. This time, if any insolent guy comes near, he's gonna get pinched for good. Heh. A shrill buzzing sound echoed throughout the forest as the yellow bees decided to go all out. A glowing magic circle appeared right on the ancient tree, summoning a series of new warriors to surround the intruder. Standing below, the slime in his frog form confidently declared, "Witness my power, frog." Instantly, he activated the charge strike skill, swinging his long tongue in a sweeping arc to crush everything around him. A series of bees were defeated in the blink of an eye, and the system continuously reported the good news about the experience points gained. However, the frog puppet began to show signs of overloading as its body bloated grotesquely. The shapes of the bees he had just swallowed were visible, struggling inside. Just then, two bee mages from above finished gathering a giant fireball. Realizing the frog couldn't withstand this heat, the slime panicked. Just relying on the swamp frog won't cut it. He immediately activated consciousness transfer, launching himself out of the old vessel to invade the waiting magic crab. Just as he gained control of the new vessel, the slime roared, and using all his might, he controlled the crab to activate the into the water skill. A high-pressure water jet shot up like a giant pillar. The water jets tore through the smoke and fire, knocking the 7 bees surrounding him far away. But just as the attack ended, the system immediately issued an emergency warning. The magic crab puppet was in an abnormal state because the water in its body had completely dried up. The water gun skill was forcibly stopped. Meanwhile, the vessel's energy bar hit the red alert, causing the crab to lie motionless on the ground. Getting frozen like this, I can't fight with just faith. The magic crab suddenly exhausted, causing the slime to gasp in shock. Seize the opportunity. The 2 bee mages immediately activated their magic circle, gathering a series of fiery fireballs and raining them down like a storm. A massive explosion occurred right on the ancient tree branch, blowing everything away in a cloud of smoke and fire. Both the crab and the frog were roasted, lying motionless on the ground, smoking intensely. The victorious bees looked down at the scene, but immediately, a deep blue stream of water shot up from below, hitting a bee mage directly in the face, catching it off guard. The slime, in the form of the pufferfish in the waterhole, triumphantly cheered, "Oh yeah, the sneak attack worked. Even the bee boss wouldn't dare dive into the water, right?" Being suddenly attacked, the bees became chaotic. The The slime, without hesitation, activated the consciousness transfer skill, gathering all his energy to escape the old vessel. He flew away and told himself, "They're just parasitic puppets. If I lose one, I'll catch another. I don't care about this little bit of attrition." To stop the intruder, 3 soldier bees immediately coordinated to deploy a triple beeswax shield, creating a solid wax barrier. However, the slime directly pierced through the defense, crushed everything, and nonchalantly left a greeting. "Coming through. Thanks," he arrogantly asserted. "Of course, the strongest one is still yours truly. I was just playing with you guys to test the squad's combat ability." After the heavy collision, he emitted a slime network to perform a wide-area probing skill. Finally, the slime caught the queen bee that was trembling and emitting sounds. "Why are you still crying? Just accept your fate. Who told you to be the loser?" The slime began to cover the queen bee's body and silently calculated. If the plan went smoothly, his first army would officially be established. He believed that as long as he controlled the queen bee, he could take control of the entire swarm. The system immediately confirmed the successful parasitization, bringing him the queen bee corpse puppet with 99% durability and the special skill Hive Mind. Standing in the middle of the lair, the slime in his new form loudly ordered, "Rise, my subjects." Green energy waves radiated out. However, the slime soon realized the harsh reality when there was no expected response. Huh? Why is there no response at all? He suddenly remembered a natural law that once the queen bee dies, the entire swarm also dissolves. It means that parasitizing the queen bee to control the whole hive was a dead end. Realizing this host was useless, the slime decided to switch to a more promising target. It chose to parasitize a mage bee and gained a skill set including honey gathering, sparks, and hovering. Invading this one was even better than the queen bee. "That works." Standing on a high rock, the slime shouted clearly, "Slime squad, assemble." Immediately, 3 loyal puppets, a frog, a crab, and a pufferfish, appeared to receive their orders. The slime began naming each member to make them easier to manage. It pointed at the frog and declared, "From now on, your name is Wazi." Next was the crab with the giant pincers, named Crabsuke. And finally, the pufferfish, with the name Sealton. While taking attendance, the slime suddenly looked around in confusion. "Wait, where is the mage bee?" It clearly remembered releasing that puppet just a moment ago. Looking at the frog, Wazi, who was chewing on something with bee legs still sticking out of its mouth, the slime realized the shocking truth. It flew into a rage and immediately gave the gluttonous frog a massive slap to enforce discipline. "Who gave you permission to eat, you idiot?" Rule number 1 of the slime squad: never eat your teammates. The mage bee was spat out onto the ground in a pathetic state, and the system notified that its health was down to 70%. Seeing the poor puppet trembling and making faint noises, the slime hurried over to comfort it. "It's okay. Mage bee, wait. It's not okay at all. Thank goodness you're still alive." The slime looked back at its army with satisfaction and commented, "Looking at it this way, the structure of the combat team can be considered complete." Its squad now brought together all the essential positions to be ready for greater challenges. First is the crab, Crabsuke, taking the role of a tank with its solid shell and powerful giant pincers. Next is the pufferfish, Sealton, in the guise of a stylish marksman wearing a hat and carrying a sharp bow and arrow. And one cannot forget Master Bee, the bee, in the role of the mid-lane mage, wearing a wizard's hat and gathering abundant magical power. Finally, Wazi, a true assassin with a headscarf and sharp blades always ready to finish off the prey. The slime's main body, clad in iron armor, stood tall in the position of commander-in-chief and primary support. A game interface appeared, identifying the opponent as a serpent dragon boss. The battle officially began with a battle cry. The serpent dragon immediately unleashed a stomp with its giant claw, aiming straight for Master B. The slime quickly ordered, "Sealton, use your defensive shell." The crab immediately lunged out to block the attack, but the dragon's strength was too great, causing the shell to crack and its health to drop significantly. The slime shouted in time, "Don't be afraid, I am here." It immediately cast the Archer's Protection skill, injecting a stream of golden slime into the body to heal the wounds. Crabsuke's shell was quickly repaired, helping it regain its form. Seeing the opportunity, the slime pointed and ordered, "This is it, mage and marksman, give it all you've got." Master B and Sealton continuously fired magic and projectiles, causing the monster's damage numbers to pop up repeatedly. However, its skin was too thick. The two of them could only temporarily hold it back. The slime coldly ordered, "Wazi, go." The frog assassin immediately appeared right behind the dragon's head, unleashing an assassination technique with a critical strike to the opponent's neck. The serpent dragon took massive damage. Its eyes turned bloodshot, and it fell into a completely weakened state. Hearing the warriors Wazi, Master B, and Sealton cheering in unison, the slime in the armor crossed its arms smugly. All right, now is not the time for flattery. Hurry up and finish this. It immediately roared to order the finishing blow. The serpent dragon shrieked in pain as it took the full-force attack from below. A terrifying explosion erupted, blowing away the monster's last resistance. The system chimed with a congratulatory notification. Serpent Dragon has been completely defeated. A brilliant victory screen appeared. The slime and its teammates raised their fists to celebrate the glorious win. Returning to its slime form, it laughed with delight at the accomplishment. Without wasting time, it led the team down into a deep pit and declared, "No more hesitation, jump." The slime shouted clearly. The training process began. Time passed, and the swamp forest scene appeared, peaceful with sunbeams filtering through the leaves. On the water's surface, a tiny creature was constantly hopping across the rocks. It was a level 9 jerboa. It was nonchalantly gnawing on a twig, completely unaware that it had become the target of a predator hiding behind a nearby rock. Suddenly, a beast darted out with the power fist skill, snatching up the poor prey in the blink of an eye. The predator revealed itself as a level 21 camouflage rock cat. But the law of the jungle repeated once again. A giant level 35 swamp mosquito dove down from above, stabbing its blood-sucking proboscis deep into the cat's back, causing it to let out a weak meow before collapsing. Believe it or not, guys, even a mosquito can eat a cat. After drinking its fill, the giant swamp mosquito's abdomen started to swell and turned a scary, vibrant red. It hovered over the water, eyeing its surroundings warily before slowly landing on the quiet swamp surface. Immediately, it began laying eggs en masse into the water. The fish below saw a tasty meal and rushed to snap them up, unaware that death was imminent. A mysterious underwater creature suddenly activated an electric shock skill, and in an instant, both the school of fish and the mosquito were electrocuted to death, floating belly up on the lake surface. A giant mouth suddenly emerged from beneath the water, swallowing the entire pile of fish and the poor mosquito in one go. That was a level 44 electric catfish. After feasting, its body suddenly glowed with a strange, brilliant light. From a high tree branch, the slime held its breath, tracking the slightest movement of the creature below. Witnessing this familiar scene, the slime gasped in surprise. Evolution. It's evolving again. After that snake bird, I'm seeing it once more. The catfish had now completely transformed into a level 52 thunder catfish, with the appearance of a majestic blue dragon, its entire body covered in blazing bolts of lightning. It roared, unleashing a thunder flash move that spread a world-shaking electrical current across the entire lake. If it discharges electricity like that again while being this close to us, we're all done for. No joke. The slime froze, only able to watch the water bubbling under the immense power of the new predator. The slime observed the newly evolved monster in astonishment, silently thinking, "This is amazing, am I hallucinating? I feel like this phenomenon of monster evolution is becoming more frequent." Immediately, the system interface appeared with a notification. Encyclopedia. World background loading. 95%, 100%. A detailed map appeared, confirming that the swamp forest is an S-rank danger zone with a very rich ecosystem of monsters. This was a place where evolution was just a common occurrence. According to the species classification table, this world is divided into ranks from weak, intermediate, and high-level creatures, all the way to Lord tier. The data even recorded a legendary battle between Ghost and the Marshland Monster Alliance, where the king of the Koi region, Lawa, mobilized an entire legion of high-level monsters to surround Ghost. But in the end, the whole alliance was wiped out, causing severe damage to the ecosystem. Now, after the battle, the forest is entering a recovery phase. The ground is constantly absorbing mana to rebuild ecological pathways, accelerating the evolution of the monsters. The surviving intermediate creatures are the biggest beneficiaries of this abundant flow of mana. In an environment without rivals, they have the chance to hoard resources to secure a priority ticket for evolution. They are all climbing the ladder of advancement, crazily scrambling for the title of the new king of this land. As the complete encyclopedia finished recording, the slime finally realized, "Oh, so that's how it is." It felt a surge of gratitude. The database Ghost left behind was truly useful. But wait, can the monsters I've turned into parasitic thralls continue to evolve too? Looking at its army of Wazi Krabske, Sealton, and Master B, the slime wondered again. Also, that electric fish is only one level below me, so why does it look so much stronger than I am? The system immediately clarified that level isn't the only measure of strength. Individual power depends on racial traits, skills, and magic. Just like the saying goes, dragons beget dragons. Phoenixes beget phoenixes. A level 100 rat is still just an appetizer for a baby dragon. As for whether the parasitic thralls can evolve, the system currently has no recorded data. Suddenly, a heaven-shaking bolt of lightning erupted in the middle of the old forest. The slime watched the brilliant blue light in shock and wondered, "Such a huge noise, is it fighting something? Let's go check it out." The slime stood frozen in awe at the horrifying scene. The newly evolved electric eel was frantically coiling around a level 60 marsh crocodile. Brilliant blue lightning bolts surged repeatedly, roasting the thick hide of the giant crocodile, making the slime gasp in terror. "Oh my god." The crocodile's eyes glazed over, and it completely lost consciousness under the destructive power of the electricity. But before it died, the crocodile had managed to bite the electric eel in half. As a result, both of them perished together. The slime was in for a massive windfall, the kind where you don't have to lift a finger to get a feast. The slime moved closer to inspect, but realized the situation wasn't great. Part of the meat was rotting, and the rest was charred black, making parasitic possession impossible. The moment it touched the meat, the residual electricity zapped its body, causing it to scream in pain from the numbness. To recover and fight back, the slime immediately consumed 115 jars of stored honey, activating the nutritional overload state, which shot its health up to 50,000 for 1 hour. In its massive, glowing form, it covered the entire crocodile carcass and began the decomposition process. The system kept sending notifications of success as the slime gained a large amount of experience, and specifically, it successfully gained the lightning resistance trait. Under the marsh water, it leisurely absorbed whatever was left until only white bones remained. It felt immense satisfaction as it officially leveled up to 51. Taking advantage of its remaining short-lived power, the slime was determined to have a full meal so as not to waste nature's great gift. In its giant form, it frantically swept through the forest, feeling the power exploding in every cell. It cheered with excitement. "This crazy feeling is amazing. My experience points are skyrocketing." The system continuously displayed a series of notifications about gaining experience points from decomposing everything in its path. But while it was lost in the feeling of power, the slime suddenly stopped when it spotted something promising in the distance. On the other side of the marsh was a vast mangrove forest, greener and lusher than where it was standing. The slime marveled. "Whoa, there's a giant mangrove forest on the other side. It looks much lush than here." It speculated that in such a fertile place, there must be stronger monsters for it to level up quickly. With that thought, the slime excitedly told itself, "Why not go over and take a look?" Then, without a moment's hesitation, it dove into the deep water with all its might. As soon as it submerged, the slime fell into the sights of a school of aggressive level 19 piranhas. They darted forward like arrows, using their sharp teeth to frantically tear at its gelatinous body. The system continuously issued emergency warnings, currently under heavy attack. Total health loss has exceeded 1,000. "Oh, man. I just wanted to grab a bite, but these guys are shredding me like crazy." The slime roared in anger. "You lowly fish, you dare show off in front of me? Watch me absorb you all to recover my health." It began to cover and swallow the fish to restore its vitality, but soon realized the harsh reality when the health it regained was nowhere near the speed at which it was being attacked. The slime bitterly realized this wasn't worth it at all. The number of enemies kept increasing. Thousands of piranhas surrounded it, forming a whirlpool of death around the slime, significantly slowing its movement speed. The system repeatedly alerted that the health loss had reached 3,000, then 5,000 points in an instant. The slime panicked, realizing its mistake. "There are too many. My movement is too slow in the water. I can't react in time." By now, the health being shredded away was far more than it could recover, even though they were just trash below level 20. The system began to explain that its giant body, from the beneficiary title, was turning it into a sitting duck. The slime screamed in despair. "Yes, I know you're smarter now, but this is not the time to explain your settings. If this keeps up, I'm going to die." The school of fish opened their crimson mouths full of sharp teeth and simultaneously lunged straight at its only eye. "Damn it, I'm really done for this time." As the school of fish frantically shredded its flesh, the slime felt agony seeing its health drop a terrifying 20,000 points in an instant. It couldn't just sit and die. It immediately activated cytoplasm ejection, putting all its might into launching itself out of the water like a rocket. It landed on the grassy bank safely, but its body had shrunk back to its original size. Looking at the fish splashing violently in the lake, the slime asked the system eagerly, "If I eat more honey to replenish my energy, can I grow big again?" The system confirmed it was possible, but the duration would not be reset. and currently, it had less than 20 minutes remaining. Determined not to give up, the slime continued its rampage in its giant form, charging through forests and crushing everything in its path. Notifications for experience points gained from decomposing trees flooded the interface. By now, its body was covered in wood, stone, and debris like a giant moving mountain. The slime remarked in surprise that while the terrain hadn't changed, the plants were still growing incredibly fast. The magical power of the Great Temple fueling all things was truly astonishing. In its excitement, the slime began to hatch some bold ideas. Thinking from another perspective, toppling the church really didn't seem that hard. It analyzed that, even without a dragon's breath or a magical beast's sharp claws, its greatest weapon was its energy. Having passed the most difficult early stage, now it was just a matter of grinding mechanically. The slime daydreamed of a grand expedition, infinite decomposition, infinite absorption, and infinite evolution. If I just work day and night without rest, in 1 month I'll have the whole church tasting defeat as my slime legion approaches their gates. It laughed smugly, but the system immediately poured cold water on the idea. That wouldn't work. The slime asked blankly, "Huh? Why?" The system began loading data and presented a dry mathematical formula to explain. The higher the level, the less experience you get from decomposing low-level items, following an exponential decay formula. If there is a difference of 100 levels, the experience gained drops to a mere 0.6%. Only then did the slime realize why it had been rolling around for so long, while its level remained stuck, despite the constant notifications. It snapped irritably. "Can't you just tell me the specific experience values directly?" The system coldly refused, stating that such calculations consumed too much of the server's processing power. At the same time, the overnutrition state officially ended, and the conditions to trigger it next time would increase fivefold. The slime was immediately reverted to its tiny original form, leaving a mountain of bones and trash scattered across the ground. It just had to accept its miserable, tiny fate. The slime grumbled about the system's robotic customer service as soon as the overload ended. It ordered the system to withdraw immediately and received a brief reply. Fine. Suddenly, its body began to convulse violently from a feeling of uncomfortable fullness. The slime braced itself and vomited everything out, expelling all the bones, rocks, and trash to lighten its body. Looking at the mess strewn about its feet, it realized that if it wanted to level up faster, it needed to find truly powerful opponents. Beneath a fiery red sunset, the slime followed the small streams deep into the mangrove forest area. Seeing that the tide had finally receded, it curiously wondered what kind of forest monsters were hiding nearby for it to hunt. However, the muddy reality made the slime feel extremely disgusted. Looking at the mud clinging to its body, it grimaced, complaining that it was already sticky enough as it was, and now, with this mud on top, it was truly unbearable. This tattered, broken body looked gross enough as it was. Looking around the muddy field, the slime curiously observed the strange, dense holes appearing beneath its feet. Huh? Why are there so many holes in this mud flat? It approached the largest hole and poked its head inside to tease. Hey, is anyone in there? Come out and let me have a bite." But instead of a delicious meal, a fin suddenly lashed out from the hole, striking the slime directly in the face and leaving it dazed. Caught off guard, the slime's face was covered in black mud. It roared in fury. "That's too much. Just you wait." Without hesitation, the slime dove straight into the hole to hunt down the one who had landed the hit. A strange fish suddenly leaped out of the mud to escape. The slime declared smugly, "Fish again? Now that you're on land, this slime isn't afraid of you anymore." The system quickly confirmed it was a level 17 mud skipper. "Tough stuff, don't mess with these guys." The fish had barely landed before opening its mouth wide, letting out a piercing scream. The slime was stunned by the opponent's reaction. "This thing can scream too?" Right after that cry, from all the mud holes nearby, a swarm of other mud skippers crawled out, surrounding the slime from every direction. It quickly realized it had fallen into an ambush by a pack-dwelling species, so they were pack creatures. The danger level had now far exceeded that of a single level 17 individual. Facing the dense encirclement, the slime remained calm and arrogant, trying to use numbers to bully the weak. "Are you? But you think I'm fighting alone?" It began to radiate slimy tentacles onto the ground and shouted, "Heh, summoning Jutsu." This time, he was calling out his own squad to show them who's boss. A cloud of white smoke erupted, obscuring the mud flat. As the smoke cleared, the parasitic puppet team, including Wazi, Krabske, Sealton, and Master B, appeared, ready for battle. The slime exclaimed proudly, "Hey, so cool. All the awesome skills I've seen in comics. Now I can make them all reality." One by one. Not giving the opponents a chance to act, the school of mud skippers simultaneously fired a barrage of mud bullets forward. The mud bullets, carrying resonant power, embedded themselves directly into Krabsuki's shell. Krabsuki was covered in so much mud it couldn't even move. The slime realized that once this mud dried, it would form a solid shackle, but it wasn't worried at all because its entire body was made of flexible protoplasm. On the other side, the mud skippers braced themselves, putting all their strength into their tails before suddenly bowing down mysteriously. The slime stared in shock, visions of these minions kneeling to make it their boss next to a shiny supercar flashing through its head, but it quickly slapped itself to snap out of the delusion. It told itself that whenever it started daydreaming, nothing good ever happened. Yeah, wake up, kid, while life still lets you. Sure enough, the fish began to contract their bodies, and then launch themselves forward in unison. The slime wondered blankly if they were about to perform a circus act, but right after, the mud whirlwinds arrived with terrifying force. The slime realized in horror that these were true sawfish types with the ability to rotate devastatingly. These living saws frantically collided and slashed at Krabsuke's shell from every side, creating deep cracks. The system constantly sent urgent warnings that the puppet's durability was dropping significantly, down to just 55%. Unable to stand by and watch the puppet be destroyed, the slime immediately activated the repair process. He accepts spending 1,000 health points to perform a bio-injection to reinforce the outer shell for Krabsuke. Immediately after, he transfers his consciousness to the pufferfish Sealton to join the battle directly. Sealton instantly spits out a powerful stream of water to deflect the enemy's attack, then lunges forward to unleash his steel tooth strike, crushing a mud skipper in the blink of an eye to gain experience points. The battle continues to heat up as the frog Wazi constantly jumps around to dodge the deadly whirlpools surrounding him. Wazi unleashes his tongue whip technique, shooting his tongue out like a long steel lash to knock back an enemy charging at him. The slime realizes the combat intelligence of the puppets in automatic mode is too low, forcing him to constantly transfer his consciousness to handle the situations directly. Despite being overwhelmed by numbers, Wazi, under the slime's control, channels all his power into his ultimate thrust, using his sturdy legs to kick away the corpse of a stubborn fish. After taking down another target, the slime quickly transfers his consciousness to the Mage Bee to deal with the rain of projectiles pouring down from above. He immediately deploys the triple wind barrier skill, creating a solid beeswax shield that blocks the entire attack from the mudskipper swarm. Watching the enemies hopelessly slamming into the defensive wall, the slime focuses on observing to find a way to lock down their agility. Master Bee waves his magic wand and coldly shouts, "Honey convergence." Instantly, a stream of golden, viscous liquid sprays out, enveloping the mudskippers as they ferociously charge forward. The sticky honey leaves them completely paralyzed, only able to struggle in vain. Despite being surrounded, the fish stubbornly unleash their spinning attack, but Sealton quickly darts out and activates his inflation skill to knock back every blow. Master Bee triumphantly gives an order, continuing to cast spells to trap all the remaining enemies inside sweet, sticky honey orbs. Witnessing the perfect trap, the slime in Master Bee's body silently admires his work. Success. Just as predicted, the adhesiveness of the honey is perfect for restricting their movement. Not letting the opponents catch their breath, Master Bee waves his wand to cast a basic fire spell, Fire Spark. A flame flares up powerfully, roasting the fish trapped in the honey. The system sends continuous notifications congratulating him on the massive amount of experience gained from successfully killing and decomposing a series of targets. Looking at the battle summary board with his overwhelming stats, the slime nods in approval. It seems these parasitic puppets still retain the personalities they had when they were alive. Master Bee carried the whole match, yet he doesn't brag like you. Wait, what? Wazi? While the frog is busy straining himself, showing off his ridiculous muscles, a fragrant scent suddenly spreads through the air. Even though he doesn't have a nose like a human, through the chemical sensing ability on his cell membranes, the slime is instantly drawn to this exquisite aroma. He exclaims in surprise, "It smells so good. What is this scent?" Looking at the smoking fish corpses, the slime suddenly realizes, is it grilled? The system immediately sends a notification that he has discovered a new dish called honey grilled fish, and officially adds it to his cooking skills. Seeing the honey grilled fish giving off such a delicious aroma, the whole group of parasitic puppets, including Wazi, Krabsuke, Master Bee, and Sealton, are so tempted that they are drooling. The slime is quite surprised to see this. Good heavens, you guys want to eat too? Even though you're parasitic puppets already? But then, he generously agrees. All right, come on then. Let's consider this our victory feast. The slime begins to enjoy this masterpiece and cannot help but marvel at the exquisite flavor. The sweetness of the honey soaks into every fiber of the fish meat, highlighting its natural freshness. The high-temperature, enclosed cooking environment not only eliminates the muddy smell, but also makes the fish skin crispy, while the inside remains perfectly tender. What a delicacy. The cooking knowledge has been uploaded straight into my brain, even though I don't even have a brain. The system immediately sends a notification. Decomposing processed food will grant more experience. However, the joy is short-lived when a giant fin suddenly pierces up from the mud, full of menace. The slime immediately goes on high alert and shouts, "Prepare for battle." There are still enemies. From deep underground, a massive monster emerges. The system confirms this is a level 49 boss mudskipper. The slime quickly reads information from the encyclopedia. The boss mudskipper can remember enemies and use sonic waves to command its swarm. It has basic intelligence. The threat level is medium. He thinks to himself, is it a boss-level monster, like a queen bee? Medium threat level, but that's compared to Ghost, I guess. No need to rush, just repeat the same tactic, and we can win. Is everyone ready? However, when he turns around, the slime wants to explode with anger, seeing his minions still busy gnawing on the grilled fish, ignoring his orders. He screams furiously, "Still eating? The enemy is right in front of us. These guys only know how to stuff their faces. They don't even know what's going on anymore." The boss mudskipper doesn't miss its chance. It opens its giant mouth and executes a devour technique, intending to swallow the whole group of puppets whole. The slime quickly identifies a technical issue. The wireless control mode is still unstable. I have to use a wired connection to boost the signal. Instantly, 4 protoplasmic filaments shoot out from the slime's body, plugging directly into the puppets' backs to establish a direct transmission line. He explains, by connecting directly like this, orders will be transmitted instantly from the main body. Even though the precision still isn't as good as possessing them directly, this method allows the slime to control multiple puppets simultaneously to create perfectly coordinated attacks. He smugly thinks to himself, isn't this puppetry? Ah, this is so cool. The boss monster is currently nonchalantly devouring the corpses of its own fallen minions, causing the slime to remark, eating its own subordinates without hesitation, a creature led by instinct. It seems its intelligence isn't actually very high. Not letting the opponent digest, the slime clearly orders, attack. The 4 filaments stretch taut, controlling the puppets to leap into the air in unison. Under direct command, Wazi closes in on the target, channeling his power into his long, glowing red tongue to execute the ultimate thrust. But before he can even strike, he is swatted away by the mudskipper's flexible tail. The mage bee, Master Bee, immediately waves his magic wand and unleashes the fire spark spell to attack. A fireball explodes right on the boss mudskipper, but it immediately activates a high-level magic technique, mud flow manipulation. A massive wave of mud rises up, covering its body, making the slime gasp in surprise. Advanced magic? Even though it looks silly, this boss possesses higher-level magic than Master Bee. Realizing he can only use a meat shield to break through, the slime orders, Crabsuke, go. But the crab, Crabsuke, unexpectedly disconnects on its own, making the slime extremely angry. You've got guts, kid. You dared to disconnect and defy my orders? Can't a guy enjoy his meal in peace without you acting up? Heh, don't you know it's bad luck to mess with someone while they're eating? The system immediately notified him that in auto mode, the parasitic slime could choose its own optimal actions, including disconnecting. The slime stood there, stunned, watching Crabsuke emits a brilliant golden light and realizes it is evolving. It turns out the crab chose to keep eating to molt right on the spot. A powerful new entity emerges, the Swamp Crab King, with a shell as hard as iron and claws that can crush metal. Not missing a beat, the slime shifts its consciousness to directly control this boss-level vessel. It smugly taunts, "Heh, I'm driving a Swamp Crab King now, and you're just a mediocre mudskipper boss." The slime steers the Crab King forward, intending to use its sturdy claws to crush the mudskipper boss. It roars, ready to go. But the mudskipper boss quickly counters with a move called Fin Force Return. A deep green, boomerang-shaped energy wave blasts out at extreme speed. It slices the Crab King's massive body in half in the blink of an eye. The slime is shocked, unable to believe its eyes killed in one hit. Why? A molting crab has no strength to fight back. In a pinch, the slime accidentally finds the answer in the system's cooking skills instead of combat skills. It turns out that after molting, her new shell needs 10 days to harden. This is when her defense is at its weakest, but her meat is the most delicious. The slime even gets swept up in a recipe guide for fried crab, so fragrant it makes its mouth water. So delicious. It snaps back to reality and scolds itself. Wait, That's wrong. Why am I looking for answers in cooking skills? The mudskipper boss starts showing off. It tenses up, locking its dorsal fin with a sharp click, then smugly rubs its head in provocation with a shout. Faced with that arrogance, the slime roars in anger. Good, just as expected from a creature with intelligence. Are you really provoking me? It understands that defeating this boss will definitely grant a massive amount of experience, so it gets serious. Immediately, the slime activates its search skill, spreading its body into a golden network covering the ground. The boss stares blankly, letting out a confused sound as it sees slime veins silently creeping and moving under the mud. The slime suddenly swings its iron mace with a thunderous strike. Gotcha! A massive collision echoes, and the monster can only scream. However, the system notifies that the boss possesses the passive skill, Slippery Skin, which helps it negate 70% of physical damage and 20% of fire damage. The slime grinds its teeth, realizing, this guy's skin can deflect my attacks, but it doesn't matter, I'll slowly crush you to death. Despite being attacked repeatedly, the boss manages to tense up and activate a mid-level magic spell called Current Manipulation, causing the surrounding mud to churn violently. The mud surges powerfully, completely severing the slime's connection network, causing it to panic. Damn it, my formation has been broken. Suddenly, Master B appears, swinging a wooden staff radiating fiery energy. A massive explosion erupts right in the middle of the swamp. The mudskipper boss freezes in shock, its eyes wide, watching the light engulfing it. The battle turns intense as the mud pit suddenly transforms into a death trap. The mudskipper boss exploits its home field advantage, manipulating the mud to sprout sharp thorns, continuously chasing Master B through the air. The slime panics, realizing this entire area is under the opponent's control. The whole mud pit is being used by it. This guy has such a huge home field advantage. I guess I underestimated it a bit. It's much stronger than other monsters at the same level. It seems monsters with intelligence always possess overwhelming power. The boss glares with killing intent, roars in anger, and fires the Fin Force Return move. The spinning energy wave frantically chases the slime, forcing it to run for its life through a barrage of mud. In the nick of time, the pufferfish bravely leaps out as a meat shield. The slime shouts, "Sealton!" The pufferfish tries to hold out, but the attack is too strong, causing the system to send continuous emergency warnings. The durability of the parasite puppet drops drastically to just 23% in an instant. The system notifies that the parasite puppet is broken. At that critical moment, the slime survives, thanks to Sealton jumping in to take the hit. It pauses for a moment and whispers, "Thanks, buddy. This sacrifice won't be in vain." Seizing the chance, the slime latches onto the mudskipper's fin, without losing a drop of blood. It roars with excitement, "Gotcha," and activates the disassemble skill. The system reports, "Disassembly successful. Experience gained." The mudskipper is shocked to realize its fin has disappeared. It trembles, confirming its fin is gone. Seeing the mudskipper with its head fin missing, looking like a bald guy, makes the slime laugh uncontrollably. The boss flies into a rage, roaring with hatred. Its eyes are bloodshot, screaming madly in its fury. "I'll kill you, you bastard." The slime is stunned, unable to believe its ears. This fish can talk? That's insane. The system immediately explains that excitement and extreme emotions in battle help monsters evolve their intelligence and grasp language. Not letting its opponent recover, the boss immediately casts the mid-level magic, Current Manipulation, raising solid mud pillars to surround the slime. Faced with such fierce resistance, the slime remains calm. "Pfft, that's nothing. Let's end this." It swings its iron mace confidently. "With this move, I've even taken down saint-level monsters." The slime begins spinning its weapon at a dizzying speed. Putting all its strength into activating the mass cannon skill, it launches the mace forward. The mudskipper boss immediately clasps its fins together. Massive mud walls rise one after another from the ground to block the attack. The iron mace pierces through the first layer of defense, but the resistance is so great that it slowly grinds to a halt in the thick mud. The monster hides behind the mud wall, its eyes wide, watching the power of the attack getting buried in the deep mud. The slime panics. It completely blocked it? At this rate, it's going to steal my weapon too. Just then, the system notifies that conditions have been met to activate martial arts talent, allowing the slime to create its own martial arts moves suited to itself. Even without understanding what this talent is, the slime is determined. Whatever, just let it fly and figure it out later. Forget it. Just do it. As long as I win, right? It begins to stretch its body, grabbing the mace handle tightly and creating massive pressure. The new skill, Water Mace Shock, is officially fired. Pushing the iron mace forward with double the speed and power, it pierces through the mud. The massive collision crushes the final defense and slams straight into the mudskipper boss's face before it could even react. A massive rain of mud and dirt splattered everywhere under the sheer force of the impact. The mudskipper boss was completely crushed. It only managed to let out a final, shaky breath in pure shock before all life faded from its body. At the sacred capital's royal grounds, beneath a sunset that stained the towering spires red, a morning atmosphere hung heavy in the air. Merlin's fate candles had been extinguished for 3 days, with no sign of relighting. Pope Vios, looking deeply contemplative, declared, "It has been 3 days. All of Merlin's fate candles have gone out, and there is no indication they will ever burn again. It seems she has finally sacrificed herself." Standing before the representatives of the 7 holy knights in the Grand Hall, the Pope asserted that his world-tracking magic could no longer detect any trace of ghost, so this threat could be considered neutralized. However, the leader of the Red Eye Guild remained extremely cautious. Merlin is a master of calculation, and surely prepared many contingency plans for herself. Conversely, Ghost has been trapped in the swamp forest, being worn down for over 2 years. It's hard to believe that even in death, Ghost could drag Merlin into the grave with him. He suspected Ghost still had an ace up his sleeve, and proposed leveling the entire forest to eliminate any future risks. But the Pope dismissed the idea, needing to preserve the forest's life force for the ritual. The Pope emphasized that the urgent task now was to add a new member to the 7 holy knights, so the Great Ascension plan wouldn't be disrupted. The Pope announced that a suitable candidate had just arrived. Stepping into the hall was Louisa, Merlin's head disciple and an S-rank adventurer of the Blue Heart Guild. Unlike her master's arrogant demeanor, Louisa appeared as a timid girl, constantly trembling and sobbing uncontrollably. Dia, the leader of the Holy Anthem Guild, mused. "Oh, Merlin's disciple, you say? She does seem like a suitable candidate, even if her personality is nothing like Merlin's." Louisa collapsed to her knees, pleading desperately. "Your Holiness, honorable holy knights, I beg of you. You must find a way to save Master Merlin. I truly don't know what to do. Without Master Merlin, the Blue Heart Guild will be finished." Seeing the poor young girl's state, the leader of the Hexterkai Guild, Ven, offered a mocking remark, inviting her to join his team should the Blue Heart Guild fall apart. However, Louisa firmly refused, citing her oath to stay with her master for life. She sobbed, begging the Pope to find a way to save Merlin, even if it meant sacrificing herself to beseech the grace of the angels. Faced with such loyalty, Pope Vios coldly retorted, "Heh, what a touching bond between master and disciple. Are you sure about this? Louisa, are you truly prepared to offer your own life to save Merlin?" Louisa suppressed her fear, trembling as she nodded in confirmation. I am prepared," Pope Vios coldly declared. "Even angels are not omnipotent. Merlin's soul has been completely obliterated. She will never return." Before the eyes of the Holy Knights, he officially issued his decree. "I declare that from this day forward, the Blue Heart Guild and the title of one of the 7 holy knights shall be inherited by you, Louisa." In the silent Grand Hall, Louisa's sobbing echoed, "No, no, Master Merlin," but that sorrow was immediately stifled by Ven's scolding. "Enough, stop crying and show some gratitude. Countless people stronger than you couldn't even dream of this 7 holy knights title." Louisa wiped away her tears, bowing her head in submission. "Lord Ven is right to teach me. I, Louisa, will definitely carry on my master's dying wish, manage the Blue Heart Guild well, and continue to serve the Holy See with all my heart." She couldn't help but recall the last time she met her master. Louisa had sought out a dark, hidden room where tracking magic was emitting an emergency signal. She called out anxiously, "Master?" The tracking magic suddenly activated. "Has something happened? Are you all right?" Appearing before her was a withered, skeletal arm, trembling as it reached out from the darkness. Merlin's ravaged body lay sprawled on the floor, breathing in agonizing, broken gasps. Suddenly, the corpse's eyes snapped open in horror. In her death throes, Merlin gritted her teeth with hateful spite. "That damn ghost. Luckily, I prepared this contingency. I've embedded soul fragments into all my disciples. Louisa has the highest compatibility. I will proceed with possession and rebirth." She wheezed out an order. "Louisa, come here. Hurry to my side. Give me your hand." But Louisa stood motionless with a mysterious smile, coldly replying, "I don't want to touch you. As long as I don't touch you, the magic you cast on my heart won't be triggered. You see, I've secretly been reading that black magic book." "Wah! You were hiding your fangs all along?" Merlin shrieked in a panic. "You! How dare you defy your master? Hurry! Save me!" There's no time left. She began to grovel in desperation. Please, anything you want. I'll teach you everything. Save me. Louisa clasped her hands over her chest, feigning concern. Oh, master, don't be like that. Louisa will help you right away. She slowly pulled out a heavy black magic grimoire, radiating a dark, ominous aura. Without a second of hesitation, Louisa swung the book, slamming it repeatedly onto Merlin's battered body. Her face was now splattered with blood, her wide, bulging eyes gleaming with unconcealable greed, accompanied by a crazed smile. Louisa will help you find release immediately. Once you're dead, everything will belong to me, only to me. Back at the muddy swamp, the mudskipper boss lay flattened. It began to twitch violently, its round, bulging eyes rolling back in pain and terror. The monster braced itself, gaping its mud and blood-filled maw. It seemed it still wouldn't accept the fate of such a pathetic defeat. The mudskipper boss hadn't fallen yet. It hid deep under the mud, grinding its teeth in vengeance. Damn it. Noticing the system remained silent, with no notification for experience points, Slime immediately realized the opponent was either faking death or just temporarily stunned. Not daring to let its guard down for even a second, it urged the frog puppet to run for its life. Waz, hurry. Safety is the priority. Retreat is the best strategy. But the ground began to shake violently. The mudskipper boss went berserk, charging through the mud at a terrifying speed. Slime glanced back and screamed in terror. Ah, it caught up. Realizing that a speed race on open mud was suicide, it immediately ordered Waz. Waz, take that turn. Don't try to outrun it on this open swamp. The team quickly dove into the dense mangrove forest, hoping the tangled roots would hold the enemy back. Hiding behind a massive tree, Slime held its breath, observing and silently calculating tactics. It knew the water spear strike required enough distance to stretch its body to reach full power, but with the boss's intelligence, it certainly wouldn't fall for the same trap twice. Furthermore, the opponent's mud-controlling magic is just too annoying, and combined with the terrain advantage, the slime feels that risking a confrontation right now is unnecessary. However, the mudskipper boss had already seen through the hiding spot. You yellow jerk, do you really think you can hide there and I won't find you? This thing really holds a grudge, doesn't it? It's all-out war with the slime now. Not giving the slime a moment to react, the boss immediately activates an intermediate-level magic spell called Sedimentation Flow at maximum range. The slime is shocked as the harsh truth hits. No way. Can this move be used for map scanning too? The monster roars triumphantly after spotting its target. Gotcha. Pinned into a corner between roots covered in mud, the slime can only cry out in desperate helplessness. Are you kidding me? Doesn't it ever get tired? When will this ever end? It uses a strand of its slime pulse to grab onto Master B, utilizing a levitation skill to hover in midair. Seeing Wazi in an attacking position, the slime shouts in encouragement, Wazi, go for it. You can do this. However, the system immediately displays a notification. Parasitic puppets in auto mode will automatically choose the optimal strategy for the main body's benefit. Wazi, stuck deep in the mud, only has enough time to let out a fishy cry. The mudskipper boss glares with murderous intent. I won't let you get away. It begins to focus intently, activating the intermediate level magic. Claw Current Manipulation. A massive column of mud erupts from the ground, tossing the entire mangrove forest into the air. The slime crazily pools all its cellular matter, roaring in fury. Are you still chasing me? Die, you stinking moldy fish. The slime immediately activates the explosive cell fragment skill, firing a barrage of slime-coated stones from above like a torrential rain of bullets. The boss quickly uses mud to create a sturdy cocoon for defense, nonchalantly asking, Is that it? Are you done? The monster suddenly spins its body, creating a terrifying mud tornado, pulling Master B into the whirlpool of death amidst the crazily firing stone bullets. Master B is now severely injured, his body no longer in one piece, but he still tries to hold on to the slime, using his final bit of strength to throw his master far away so he can face the danger alone. The loyal B-mage gives a thumbs up as a final signal before being completely swallowed by the boss's giant mouth. The slime looks back in pain, thinking to itself, even though you guys are just puppets that can be replaced at any time, we've inadvertently formed bonds in battle. I will always remember you. It quickly changes shape into a magic carpet to glide on the wind, aiming to escape the danger zone. Seeing the cracked land ahead, the slime tells itself, the terrain ahead isn't mud anymore. It exerts its power to land on the arid ground with a glimmer of hope. This must be safe here, right? But just as it touches the ground, a heart-wrenching pain strikes, causing the slime to scream in agony as its HP and energy are continuously drained in pulses of 200 points. What the heck? My HP is plummeting the moment I landed. The system immediately responds. The encyclopedia is searching. Confirmed, the current location is highly alkaline, saline soil, causing osmotic pressure imbalance. The slime asks in shock, "Osmotic pressure imbalance? Didn't I already adapt to that?" The system explains that it has only adapted to high humidity environments, while this alkaline, saline land will continuously suck the water out of any creature until nothing but dust remains. The slime trembles, looking around for an escape route. So, how do I get out of here? Looking at the sparse clumps of grass scattered far away, it desperately realizes they are too far apart. It's hard to jump across them all at once. Hiding in the grass, the slime glares at its enemy. "Are you still chasing me? I only ate a few of your minions, and you've already wiped out all of my puppets, so let's call it even. Keep chasing me like this, and even the readers will get tired for you." But the Mudskipper boss has no intention of stopping. It roars with rage. "Stop talking nonsense, you slimy thing. You dared to ruin my precious hair. Even if you run to the ends of the earth, I will take your life." The slime hides behind the grass, thinking, "You are so annoying." It decides to jump out of hiding to find an escape path. But as soon as its feet touch the alkaline soil, the real nightmare begins. Its HP drops horrifically, losing 200 points every second. The slime frantically uses its last jar of honey to recover 400 HP, but the system immediately throws a bucket of cold water, notifying it that the honey is exhausted and it must leave immediately. In the distance, the Mudskipper boss is gleefully clapping, mocking its enemy's misery. It's holding a grudge just because its messy hair was ruined. "Ha, that's it. Just die painfully for me." The slime lies limply on the cracked earth. Its body is slowly being drained of water, making it sway unsteadily. This is bad. The next patch of grass is too far. I won't last. In desperation, it frantically rummages through its storage space, spitting out everything from twigs to lotus leaves, bones, and trash to find a way to survive. Is there anything that can save me? Hurry up and come out. Suddenly, its eyes light up as it discovers a savior item. Found it. A giant pair of iron-armored legs suddenly stomps onto the ground, creating a small shockwave in the land of death. The Mudskipper boss is confused, not understanding what is happening. The slime has already tucked itself inside the leg armor of Ghost to hide. It breathes a sigh of relief. As expected, this armor can completely block the damage from this alkaline soil. But controlling these iron legs is not easy at all. The slime wobbles. The armored legs tremble as they walk across the cracked ground. I'm not used to controlling this yet. It tries to keep its balance, but its body keeps tilting. The armored legs walk with a clumsy, staggering gait. Almost fell. Steady now. Come on. If I fall now, that Mudskipper will laugh its head off. The slime starts to adjust to controlling the iron legs and confidently asserts, "I'm getting the hang of it now." Controlling these legs is basically like walking on stilts. Once you get the rhythm, it's not that hard. It smugly turns its head to leave a goodbye. Heh, I'm heading out. The Mudskipper boss roars in rage. Don't even dream of it. And immediately activates the intermediate magic claw current manipulation to block it. But amidst this dry, cracked land, its attack has no effect at all. The slime runs while laughing and taunting. Ha, there's no mud here. Your magic is useless. Watching the figure fade into the distance, the boss roars in powerless frustration. You slimy yellow freak. I'm never gonna let you get away. The slime didn't care. It kept stride with its iron legs, quickly leaving its enemy far behind. Let him curse all he wants, his mouth can do the talking, and his ears can do the hearing. As it pushed deeper into the wasteland, the slime suddenly froze when it spotted a blinding light in the distance. It curiously wondered, what on earth is shining over there? As it drew closer, the slime was shocked to find a portal right in front of it, radiating a deep blue magical aura. That's all for the video today. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button to support the channel. Thanks everyone, and see you next time.